right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to. There's a lot of buzz going around. I saw our brother Tariq yesterday. I think maybe the day before. Um, said made a comment that inspired this page. He said, "The name of the game." I'm paraphrasing. The name of the game is outsiders telling. Miseducation is the name of the game. Outsiders are constantly trying to tell FBAs who we are. And I was like, "You damn right." It's one of those things where even though I teach for a living, I didn't even catch that. Like it's true. Like a lot of different outsiders go through extreme lengths, spend millions and billions of dollars to try to tell foundational Black Americans who we are. And it kind of clicked the other night. I was like, wait a minute. They're trying to keep us away from our actual identity. So this is going to be not a very long space, but I want to entertain that. I want to find out is miseducation the name of the game? And can these fucking outsiders tell us who we are? What y'all think about that?
Well, they definitely want to try, but I'm definitely fighting them. I just have with this delineation, it's pulled the underwear down on a whole lot of people. It's basically pants the whole world because the people talking, just imagine this. Picture this. You're talking about country music, and all of a sudden somebody just blows into the room. That Beyonce's not playing it right. Beyonce don't that's not country music. And then you say, well, who the hell are you? And you find out it's some Slavic turd that came over with lice on an Ellis Island ship. Like you don't have anything to do with the country. You weren't in the country. You came in and propped yourself up in New York. You have nothing to do with country music. The beginning of it, the development, and they're flapping their gums about it. That's the part that's crazy. Not to mention what we experienced today when we were on Wikipedia and we had an Indian man, a person in India, to tell us that foundational Black American, that's not real, that we're not an ethnicity, that are we're just a bunch of Africans over here. Yeah, who are you? And he's in charge of somehow he's in charge of the page. He's got the page all blocked up and he's on some talk page commandeering it. So this is a normal thing with Wikipedia. They have a horrible racist problem. They did the same thing with me. They were very racist, but it worked itself out.
Yeah, well, how does that work with liable law? Like, Tariq, he owns his name. Like, I would file. I'm just gonna say pro se what I would do. I would have their ass in court. You don't get to make a page in my likeness telling me who I am without my consent. I would fuck them up.
For some
It's
reason, they have some kind of way where they keep getting away with this abuse, and a lot of people don't like it. It's not even a race thing. People don't like it. It's just that white people fare better because there's less aggression toward them. But yeah, they just set up they set up a page in your name, put all kind of things on there, and then say you can't comment on the page, or that's fraudulent to them. You commenting on it, like what? What if I want
on
to add? You
yourself.
gotta go in and ask somebody to add an article or to put some verification. They're in there talking about you like a dog. They're in there talking about you, saying that you are, saying, oh, you didn't really do that. You said, here's an article. You have to beg some other person to post an article to prove what you're trying to prove with an article. And then they can just sit up there. And here's the kicker, they can sit there and say, oh, that's not a legitimate article. Like the guy said, the FBA website is not legitimate. But Wikipedia is not legitimate. They're not a legitimate source. They literally have a list of things that are not legitimate, like Guinness Book Records got caught allowing people to buy records. They're not legitimate. They're one of the sources that's not legitimate, and they're the main ones sitting up there. They get away with it because they have a system where everybody's a volunteer and they're not working there, so they can get away with it.
Yeah, they're like subcontractors. Interesting. That that would make a very interesting legal case. Back to what Wani said about illegitimacy. I told my students if they cite Wikipedia in their paper, I'm gonna fail them.
That is
You will
funny.
receive an F on one of my papers if you cite Wikipedia. I was in grad school doing a dissertation research, and I was looking at Dr. King on Wikipedia, y'all. And on Wikipedia in 2014, Wikipedia said Dr. Martin Luther King was a white supremacist.
That's insane. Yeah, they can pretty much just say anything.
Go ahead, Kanye.
Oh, I was trying to make sure I couldn't hear y'all at first though. But what's going on? How y'all doing? Um,
Hey,
ugh, man, y'all have these good titles, man. Is Miseducation the name of the game? Yes, of course it is. You look at it now, like I think it's funny, right? And I was just talking about this to one of my partners earlier. You look at how Pan-Africanism in itself doesn't tend to work because they're not really united. But somehow they all on code were calling us a hate group because we decided to self-identify and delineate, right? I think that's crazy how like they all came together with that. So yes, misinformation. They all know how to get on code when it benefits them. So misinformation is definitely the name of the game. That's exactly
yes,
right.
that's self-preservation because the leaching abilities are limited. They're smart enough, like they're selectively intelligent. They're smart enough to know that what we're doing is going to stop the leaching. Just like a kitten knows someone's taking the tit away. They may not know how to calculate the moon landing, but they know you're taking that tit away, right? So that's what they know. They know that we are their lifeline. And if we withdraw, actually, I forgot to mention, they kind of did the same thing to the Khoisan people, the San tribe in South Africa.
Interesting.
Technically, they're not African quotation marks. They're completely different genetically than everybody over there. They're the first people the oldest people on Earth that we know of. In the next group is pygmies. I'm not going to say straight out that pygmies aren't as old, but so far they seems like they came from them. So I'll just go with that today. Um, but clearly, the Baton, the pygmy groups are, and the Khoisan are the oldest humans on Earth, and they literally have cave drawings to prove it, and all kinds of evidence genetically. But the regular run-of-the-mill African wants them to be classified along with them in that little colored African category that they have over there, and they were trying to get their own category away from both of those categories, and they were in there fighting them, trying to tell them what their ethnicity is. They were there before these people ever crawled over to those parts of Africa. They have nothing to do with nothing, and they're bossing them around.
That's so special. Like on a spiritual level, that's very interesting. Like I was thinking on a spiritual level, this sounds like parasitic. Like we're surrounded by parasites, and we're what if I was thinking, what if foundational Black Americans and Khoisan have in common, other than a lot of our skin complexions, which is interesting, um, is purity. Khoisan are pure, and like Dick Gregory said, the foundational Black America has been made pure through this process, um, through the enslavement process, and like we've been made pure. We're innocent. We ain't did shit to nobody. I don't want to call myself a victim. I'm victorious, but the Khoisan and the founding FBA is pure. So it's almost like these different groups are parasiting off of a pure source.
Yeah, they are. The Khoisan don't have a big pit of bodies where they butchered people to death. And they've been living on the earth for 70,000 years. There's no evidence of them harming each other. None. They've been in caves all over southern Africa, all over. And if they had done something atrocious, you would have known about it because they would have said, oh, we found a whole bunch of sacrificed children, just like they do the Maya, just like they do the Aztec, just like they do the Inca. We found 140 slaughtered children and 50 llamas. What the hell's going on here? The Khoisan don't have any of that. They just mind their business. The pygmies, they don't have the most rambunctious the pygmies have gotten is when they said they saw a brontosaurus, and that made everybody mad. They don't do anything. They just defend themselves from a bunch of Africans bothering them. And that's why I respect them. They have fought those people, they have fought the colonizers. They're fighting the colonizers and the regular Africans at the same time. Both of these groups, the Khoisans and the Pygmies, they cross over borders. They don't have passports. They refuse to cooperate with whatever this system is. They refuse to be a part of it. Go ahead, Dan. You know something about my boys? That's not you.
Hey, how you doing, one?
I'm still mean.
Yeah, I don't think you're mean. I think you're a sweetheart. Yeah, how you guys doing? Khoisans are Africans and Pygmies also Africans. I just wanted to.
I I didn't say they were not. I said they're not in any way classified like you guys. You don't understand what we're talking. We're talking about genetics. They're not classified like me at all. And when you look at your DNA profile, it doesn't have them under African.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's
It
what I
doesn't it
want.
doesn't have them under African. They're a whole other species.
Oh, are you saying they're different
And
species or they have different
they
haplo?
are a different species. They are not listed under sub-Saharan African. They are in their own section. I actually asked the
There's,
geneticist, I said,
it
Oh,
why
sounds
are,
a bit racist. I don't.
no, I asked the guy, I said, why are they not under sub-Saharan Africa? They're definitely from Africa. And he was explaining to me that it's just not like that. It's very confusing.
Yeah, that's the
They're
only
not,
way.
it's not about where they're from. We're talking about their
Yeah, I-
genetics.
yeah, yeah.
They're a very old group of people. And they don't fit with, they're not even very similar. They're not as similar to Homo sapiens as maybe you or I. They are really different from us.
Mm.
Really
I've
different.
that's
I've
very
never
interesting.
seen any of them in real life, so I can't say. But I know
Oh.
that Igbos and you
What,
know
Khoisan or pygmies?
both actually.
I've seen them both.
That's
I seen pygmies or the twa. Pygmy is a
were
pejorative.
Right.
they kind
That's
of
what
light skinned?
Well, one of them is brown skin and the other
the
one is
poison
lighter skin.
No,
skin.
no, no. The pygmies. That I mean the twas.
The No, the Batwas are brown
The,
skin, generally speaking, and the Khoisan are lighter skin.
I heard that West African pygmies, well, West African twas, kinda have lighter skin, sometimes green eyes.
I don't know what
Um,
they must have passed through some places I don't know about.
and actually Igbos have a bit of that lineage as well. Like they have um how would I say it? They have the same genes as the San people in
No, you
Southern
guys
Africa.
don't.
What?
And no, you guys don't.
I'm not Igbo. What are you saying?
They don't
It is not
have
even
the
about
same,
me.
they don't have nothing to do with nothing. You guys are the
They
regular, run
they.
of the mill, city five ones. You guys suck balls, okay? The
I
other
think
ones don't.
you probably have quite some DNA a
I
little
have a
bit.
little bit, but that's because,
That's why
you know,
I know it. I know it.
but I'm not Khoisan. I have
Yeah, yeah.
some genetics because of nomadic behaviors.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean that's cool. But yeah, I find the conversation interesting. But I find it weird that I don't know. Africa is always brought up. I find it a bit like Pan-Africanism kind of becomes
We're
this
on your
boogeyman.
stuff.
What?
We're on your case, basically.
I mean, fine, but like I feel like there's real Pan-Africanism, and then there's the caricature of it, and then you guys talk about the caricature of Pan-Africanism
Can I
and
ask you a
make
question,
that
Dan?
seem, yeah, sure, what's good.
So I've been in Nigeria before.
Yeah,
Been to a few places on the continent.
cool.
So where on the continent do they actually practice Pan Africanism?
Preach.
Uh, what do you consider
Oh
Pan-Africanism?
no, I mean, no, whatever you consider. What do you? Where have you seen their practice on the continent?
Um, Ghana,
Los Angeles.
Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Guinea.
I've been
Yeah,
all over Ghana and
Me
Togo.
too.
Never seen a Pan African,
Yeah,
sir.
me neither. I've been to Liberia too, and that's where it's supposed to
Um.
be the strongest at.
Okay, Prof. Let me ask you this question, Prof. Does Ghana not have a black star on its flag?
So check this out. I've been listen. Sudan means
A
land of black
black
people. Anyway,
star?
yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
That's look. All right. So I've been to Nigeria. Right, beautiful place, beautiful place. And in Nigeria, they're divided. You know what they
I know.
divide themselves into?
I mean, I didn't, I didn't mention Nigeria for a
You
reason.
No,
guys
I'm saying
produce
I know, but
pits of dead bodies, sir. You're not together at all,
what
even
tribe
in
are
your
you
own
from?
You
country.
guys,
What
who's
tribe are
you
you from in Nigeria?
guys? Still, I'm not Nigerian.
But you understand there's tribes in Nigeria, correct?
No, I'm Ghanaian. I'm
Okay,
Ghanaian.
but you understand in Nigeria there's tribes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's tribes in Ghana too, right?
There's ethnic groups. Yeah,
Gotcha. Did they necessarily get along?
we all get along in Ghana. There's never been any ethnic conflict. There's
Okay.
tensions like with every
You
group,
guys think that we
but
don't have
there's
you guys think we don't have Google. Why do you do this type of thing? Because I'm
there's
not even
never
going to go
been
look it up. I already know you produce pits of bodies.
Remember what you said
Everybody
about that
over
tit
there,
thing, Wani?
that
everybody has done it.
listen. There's never been any ethnic conflict in Ghana. Uh,
Sir, you're going to blow up.
I
You're
mean,
you're
you
going to
can
be
you
struck
can
by
Google it.
lightning. Anybody standing next to
He,
him,
he,
scooch over.
he-
I'm being for real.
he's gonna spontaneously
You know what?
combust.
You remember what Wani said earlier about that tit or whatever? Like they can't do rocket science. They know like this is self preservation at its finest, right? Because I mean, no disrespect. Here in America, we have problems with each other. We're not disputing that. I think that's to say that you guys don't have problems is just a flat out lie.
I said Ghana specifically.
Yeah, you
Like,
say you gotta don't have problems, 100%. You know I've been there before, right?
sure. And I
Okay.
said that
Just want you to know
maybe you
that.
can say there's ethnic tension sometimes, but there's never been any ethnic conflict, and that's true.
Dude, last time I was in Ghana, not long ago,
Hmm.
we were riding through the city and everything, like the people and the clothes was different all of a sudden. And I was like, what's going on? As it turns out, the UN just scooped up a bunch of Liberians during their civil war and just dumped them in the middle of Ghana. So it's all kinds of tension in Ghana. Like it's just a bunch of Liberians. It's like, here you go, splat,
So,
land in Ghana,
so,
deal with it, Ghana.
so they are refugees. So they have less means. Like they don't have as much money because they just got dropped there. That doesn't mean that there's any ethnic tensions over there. There's a lot of Liberians that consider themselves like Ghanaian because they lived in Ghana their whole lives. Like Michael Blackson, like that dude is, I think, half Ghanaian, half Liberian, but he considers himself Ghanaian.
Dan, you're getting yourself in trouble. Like there's conflict and tension everywhere. For you to say there's no conflict in Ghana is like you're setting yourself
I
up
said
like
ethnic,
for a
ethnic,
ball.
ethnic. I'm being specific with my words.
Well, what's your ethnic group? Are you Ga?
I'm Akan, I'm Ga, I'm Fanti, I'm Shanti as
Mm,
well. On my mom's side, there's Equiapims. I'm everything. I'm all over the place.
okay. All right. Back to the topic. Is miseducation the name of the game? I saw Mr. Dan try to educate us on who the Twa and the or the Batwa and the Khoisan were. So Dan, why would you do that? Like you don't know who the Twa, like the Khoisan are some of the most mysterious people on the planet. I do research for a living, and I can't find out anything about them. I mean, these are a group of people who tame lions, who are just walking around with lions. Like that's normal. Like this is a special group of people. So how could you just outright define them?
What I can say about the Twas is that they are very, very old people and they are very knowledgeable. They have very ancestral knowledge. They are very good with plants, um, stuff like making herbal medicine with roots and stuff like that. They can make poison out of nothing to like hunt and stuff like that. So they are very special people. And they are endangered today in Cameroon and places like the Congo, Gabon, because of urbanization and deforestation and things like that. So that's why I know about them.
Well,
And
why don't
what
you
I
just
was
leave them
saying,
alone?
I don't do
You're
anything with them.
you're attacking pygmies. I
There's no
know it.
twas. There's no
I'm
twas in
blaming
Ghana.
you. I'm blaming you. I don't give a damn.
Sure. I mean that's your people. You should do something. No, but there's no twas in Ghana, unfortunately. Yeah. I think that mostly in Central
No, they're
Africa.
in Central. They like the rainforest where all the plants and things are.
Yeah.
And they
There
actually
used to be
make
there used to be
medicine and
some.
sell those plants and sell those tinctures and
They sell
herbs to
them.
people. Yeah, they trade them. Not sell them, but they trade them for other things that other groups might have. That's
Hmm.
how they survive. They survive on rainforest and they trade those things.
Mm, interesting. I pinned the research about the Igbos having, certain genes from Khoisans and stuff like that. So it's on the Jumbotron
Well,
if you
you're
want to
so
see that.
prone to get all up in the Khoisan's business.
I mean, you just don't
You
want to be
probably
associated
snatched a
with
koi. You guys probably
Nigerians, I think,
kidnapped an
maybe.
innocent, small-statured Khoisan and mugged him
You
and got his
just,
genes.
you're, yeah, I think you're projecting
I
your
possibly
personality
could
on
be.
them.
I could be projecting.
Hmm. You're short, huh?
I, I don't think she is. Foundational Black Americans, believe it or not, we mind our fucking business. If people come out to seek, people seek us out. People seek us out. We mind our
I mean, I
business.
just came in here and
And
you guys were talking about Africa for some reason, but you were talking about your identity. And last time I checked, you guys always say that you're not African, so it's kind of, you know,
I
messing
think
me
you're
up.
confused about what I say.
Okay.
Okay. So, what I've said
Hmm.
is that I have African DNA,
Okay.
but I'm a new group, just like
Yes.
just like Native Americans have Asian DNA and they
Hmm.
have the same languages and everything as Siberian people who are still in Asia and Russia, but they are not classifying themselves as Asians because some things have happened and lots of years have passed and they classify themselves differently. That's
Mm.
what I'm saying. I'm no longer an African because of certain ethnogenesis situations, uh, not living on the continent or having any connections with it. Too much time has passed by for
I
me
understand that.
to, be delusional to think I belong to a place.
I mean,
Just like,
I
I
think
mean,
I
if
think you would be welcome in
think
Ghana,
about
but
it. If Native
it's your
Americans said,
choice.
I'm Asian right now, I'm Asian, I want to be Siberian, they would be told, get lost. Where do you fit in Siberia?
you will make up.
They probably wouldn't even want to.
I think
I can't hear you, Professor. You're breaking up.
got it.
No, talk
I,
now.
I was just saying. I think her money would be welcome in Ghana.
I mean,
I mean,
any
welcome as a
black person
tourist.
is welcome in
Welcome
Ghana.
as a
To be honest,
tourist, yes.
I'm just being for real.
Okay, let's get this straight. Welcome as a tourist
Nah, you
is
can live
one
in Ghana with
thing.
no problem.
Living there, you're othered. Let's not play games. I know multiple people with multiple looks
Okay, it
and they're
depends.
othered. They are othered. It
Okay,
doesn't matter
okay, it
if
depends. Let
they're
me tell you what it
brown, it
depends
doesn't
on.
matter if they're trying to, rub shoulders. Doesn't matter if they're married to somebody, doesn't matter if they have a child with the person. There's no way that they always other you. That's their thing. That's literally their shtick, is to other people.
Can I
Wani, Dan, hold on. You have successfully turned our title into Africa. We're not talking about Africa. We're talking about FBA MisEducation. So, Devoe, Devoe, what are your thoughts?
Hey, Devo.
What's up, brother professor, sister Wani? I miss you, Wani.
Long
Y-
time no hear.
yes, you ain't been on like consistent, but I'll be trying to catch you on, professor. The title is Miseducation. The name of the game, yes, it is. The word African is what they're literally. That's their nuclear weapon right now. They come out and call niggas a bunch of Africans, and we're a part of the motherland again, I guess. So I've been letting Africans know who've been asking me this online. They say, do you not have African ancestry? Okay, so we need to get the words we're saying right. No one has ever, I don't think any FBA, any ADOS, any Black American period has ever denied their African ancestry. What they did deny was their African nationality. That is what
Facts.
they denied, because we are Americans. Also, people want to ignore the indigenous ties to Black Americans. Is easily researchable. We were enslaved by Native Americans. We were mixed with Native Americans. We're Aboriginal Black Americans, and all of these things are documented. So if you want to come and challenge a Black American on us, on our history that we know, I mean, we know our history like the back of our hand. We know it. If you want to challenge a Black American on their history, you will be called out on it. So if you're a foreign person and you're melanated and you want to have a good relationship with the Black American community, you need to learn to respect the history of America and the history of Black Americans. Thank you.
I love it, bro. And what he said was true. We know our history, and let me tell you why. The fact that we know our history has nothing to do with these schools. It has to deal with our tradition, with grandmama and uncle. Like our brother Tariq says, we have a tradition in our family of passing down the truth of what really happens to our family members. You know what I'm saying? It's part of our culture that nobody really discusses. And to the title of the room, it's my opinion, my conclusion after being a part of the educational system for going on 15 years. Uh,
Y'all breaking up?
okay, educate us out the truth. Um, that's all I had.
But that's exactly what they do. I saw a tweet from a young guy. He was like, they want to monopolize the education system so they can spread information more easily, right? So essentially, what they do is they educate their people with the wrong information and then label them as experts. So you have somebody who doesn't know anything, who's been educated the wrong way, labeled an expert on subjects, but it's really misinformation.
Totally. If y'all
Absolutely.
got time to, yeah, if y'all get time, and if I break up, I'm in the mountains. Forgive me, but there's a guy you can look up. Flint Dibble is a white dude that dresses like Indiana Jones. He has a PhD, and he calls himself an archaeologist. His dad's an archaeologist by trade, and he is too. But Flint is an assassin, like a character assassin that goes around and finds scholars like Graham Hancock, like myself, that look for the truth. Like Graham found tool marks. Listen to this shit. Graham found tool marks on some of the tablets in ancient Egypt. Like what the fuck? There are sophisticated tool marks. And told Flint, well, wait a minute. Told the archaeological society, wait a minute. They're not supposed to have tools. I thought you said they're running around in loincloths with slaves whooping them. They didn't have power tools. So what does Flint do? Flint can't disprove the fact that there are tool marks because there are pictures all over the internet. So Flint calls Graham Hancock a racist somehow. You know, that's the system. The system is falling to pieces. Like, it's been a big lie. It's been a big miseducation, and the people are starting to wake up, and I love it.
I agree. I don't really know. Go ahead, Dan.
No, now you can finish what you were saying.
I don't know what the compulsion is other than what we said, just self preservation, because they really, even if you start talking about someone else, and I'm not speaking about these people randomly, I literally have done their genetics, and they are a mystery, a mysterious people, and they're very different. But I don't know why Dan has a compulsion to tell me that they're really, Igbo, and they're this and that, and it's like,
No, I didn't say that they were Igbo. I said that Igbos
uh,
also had similar genes to
they
them.
don't have similar genes though.
I mean, you can look at the
How they have
research.
similar genes?
You can look at the research. I'm not the scientist who
What
put that out.
research?
I put it on the Jumbotron,
Mm-hmm.
first slide. So you just check it out. I'm not even Igbo, so I have no reason to say this. And by the way, yeah, I want to respond to what
And they
David was
also
saying.
said they were Jewish, and then they looked them up and they weren't. So they say they seem to say a
Yeah.
lot of things. They're not like the Limba
I mean,
group.
those that one is not oral history. It's genetic science. So it's kind of different. You get what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying is the canon of of Western science and history is all the apparatus is designed to protect a narrative. That narrative is that Europeans are at the top of the food chain, and what disheartens me is you get non-Europeans um, that defend that academic canon. I'm telling you, man, that when you go digging and you go looking in history, you find sophistication and you find us. And in my opinion, I think that's what the academic canon is trying to miseducate us on. It's like, no, no, no. Don't look at the fact that there used to be sophisticated, um, melanated people in the world uh, that could build buildings that we can't build today. Don't look at that. Look at now. Now, what's the narrative that we live in the most sophisticated time of all time? I think I'm starting to believe that's bullshit. I think we're in a less sophisticated time period.
And I believe the people that have been ruling the world for about 1,000 years has something to do with why this is not the best time period. To be honest,
Absolutely.
we're getting weaker, sicker. We're getting more technology and living less. Like it's all a fraud to me, really.
I mean, look at millennial lifespans. Like, we don't live as long as our grandparents. My granddaddy died at 95 years old, and like we got great grandparents that are 100 now. Like, they lived longer. They were doing something right. And we got all these doctors, all this sophisticated medical technology, but we're living, our quality of life is all fucked up. Dude, when I was in grad school, I worked at Planet Fitness. By the way, gentlemen, that's the best part-time job ever because you can work out and just, enjoy the scene. You know what I'm talking about? Well, me and my one of the young fellas that worked there with me used to we played a little game like guessing the age of women that walked in there. Like, man, I bet you she about 28. Man, I bet you she about 35. Man, what I found in about a year is I couldn't guess the age of Gen Z. The younger people, I couldn't guess their age. They all looked like they were 40 something. And on the flip side, the Gen Xers and some of the baby boomers look like they were like they look younger than a damn Gen Z. How is that possible? Well, we came to a conclusion that the baby boomers and Gen Xers actually ate real food. Like they ate, or maybe the environmental factors were different. I know Wani has said that they ate junk back then. They did, but it was some environmental factor that was different back in the day. And whatever environmental factor that is wearing out the bodies of the young folks. So my argument is now is a less sophisticated time than than it was in the past. A lot of the solutions we have, and I got to be careful with this, but a lot of the problems we have now are fucking manufactured. I'm gonna end on this. I was teaching environmental science years ago in Memphis, and me and my students did a little project where we went around to like find out how that what was going on in the hood. And one of my students brought up the point that there were a lot of dialysis clinics in the hood, and we were like, "Why is that?" And we would go to the white side of town, the rich side of town. Nope, not one dialysis clinic. And I was like, "What is this about?" And basically, my student concluded through her research that the diet that's being given to the black neighborhood may be contributing to the failure of kidneys in the black neighborhood. And if that's true, that's a manufactured fucking disease.
Um,
I mean,
ramen
I don't even
noodles,
understand. Go ahead.
ramen noodles, does that.
Let me
I'm
ask
just
a
saying.
question. Diet that's given to Black Americans, what what diet is given to them?
The di- I'm the That's a good question, Wani. So, my from my students' research, she concluded that in Memphis, in the black neighborhood, there were no whole foods. Like there was no whole food. Like you had fucking rallies and fast food on every corner, and there was a lack of grocery stores in the neighborhood that my student did her research in. There was only one Kroger there, and when we went to that Kroger, this Kroger didn't have as believe it or not, even though it was a full Kroger supermarket, it didn't have the same variety of vegetables and meats as the other Krogers, which I found surprising. So through that data, my student concluded that reasonably, the people in this black neighborhood were not getting at the same level of nutrition that people were in the richer neighborhood. Therefore, their body systems were failing due to that lack of nutrition. I don't know if that's true or not, but that it sounded reasonable to me.
I reject that because I know a lot of people that are from impoverished neighborhoods and they get into bodybuilding and then all of a sudden they know how to eat according to the muscles they want. So I think that people don't prioritize what they're. I'm just telling you the truth. They knew all the things to eat to get those muscles.
Unhealthy food is just cheaper. I think that's just the
That's not
bottom.
necessarily the case though, right? Because organic food costs just as much. You gotta think about it, right? You probably get the small increments, whatever, but it's actually, I don't know. They were talking about this on public school, right? Public school lunches. They were saying that to fund a public school food, it'd be just the same as it was for processed food. So the real question is, why don't they do it? They don't want healthy people.
I don't know. Again, the miseducation. If y'all are a certain age, I'm an early millennial. I'm an '80s baby. Y'all remember that food pyramid that I used to
That
follow it
was
like
totally
a damn
wrong.
Boy
That was
Scout.
totally wrong.
It
This
was
country,
it was
but
miseducation.
this country sells meat and milk. We were very naive. The country sells meat and milk. Okay, this white people are meat and milk culture. They said meat and potatoes, but they are a meat and milk culture, just like the people in the steppe. They brought that attitude down with them to um, the rest of Europe. That's the way they eat, and those are the things that they were growing and raising. But again, I noticed that they used to bust a vegan's chops and make all kinds of jokes. But did you notice they kind of stopped teasing vegans? You know why? Because they grow a lot of soy. And they discovered that soy makes perfect fake meat, which I don't like because soy is bad. I mean, it's okay here and there, but it's not good to eat, especially for a vegan every day. No, you don't eat it every day. You can eat it once, couple times a month. If I was a man, I wouldn't eat it at all, and I don't eat it at all. So it's no point in me eating it. But they discovered they could make every kind of vegan meat out of it, so they started shutting the hell up. So these things are based on selling you things. Before, I guess they were using the soy for other stuff like fillers and stuff. And then they just started, using it for to make vegan products. So they shut the hell up on that. But then everybody told the vegans not to eat it, so it didn't work out very well. Go ahead, Path.
Hey everybody. Thank y'all for your
Hello.
continued spaces. I'm assuming y'all can hear me.
Yes.
I hear you,
Okay,
bro.
yeah, I have one of these earpieces on. I don't know how that technology works. So, but yeah, again appreciate all the work y'all are doing. I just jumped into this conversation probably because I don't feel like going to sleep, but I need to. But also because I appreciate the value that y'all bring. So I think it's been about 20 years before I kind of looked into some of this, but I was reading some of these books on the diaspora diets where they're talking really about the slave diet. But I think getting into a little bit deeper, we talk about the food deserts. That's part of the issue. But I think the bigger issue is trying to have purposefully trying to take healthy food that helps our DNA, our cellular processes, and else. So I was listening to one physician, and he was giving these med school students a discussion about I think diabetes, but what he was saying was is that things are either in the cell or they're out of the cell, and trying to use that to teach the kids to process these. But I was talking to somebody who's on a diabetes council, and I shared with her my ideas, and she thought there was some merit to it. So to me, things are either being brought into the body there, or two, they're being used in the metabolic processes where it's either fueling the body, fueling the cells, fueling the organs, and then three, the removal of the waste. And if you look at it like that, with all this food, with all this extra additives and waste in it, that third processes can cause a lot of problems in the body because the body has to move that stuff out constantly if it's not actually helping you positively. And all this food has ridiculous additives. So one thing I remember looking into, and this is going to a health concern I had for a while, but if you look at almost all these restaurants and even the food items that you think would be pretty healthy, the sodium content on almost all these restaurants is ridiculously high. So if you're trying to eat healthy, trying to have a diet that doesn't have high fat, high cholesterol, high sodium, high sugar, you find that most of these dietary items have that. And if you look at food deserts within quote unquote black neighborhoods, that's often the case. You have convenience stores. Almost everything in that convenience store is high fat, high sugar, high cholesterol, high sodium. So just statistically speaking, if you're going to have any population, you're going to have problems feeding them food that are high in those four, to me, areas, because all that stuff has to be, A, can even be used for healthy metabolic processes in step two, but B, step three, all that stuff has to be cleared out of your body without having it have a contingency. And if you look at other things like that can be useful for getting a lot of this waste out of our body, i.e., dietary fibers, but then you look at these convenience stores, how many of them have healthy dietary fibers, fruits and vegetables to even help your body with that processing? So now you're not even giving the materials that the body needs to push this waste out, but you're putting more waste in. So I think that is a big problem. But even if we want to go outside of that, we as Black Americans, Foundation of Black Americans, we're a unique people with our own ethnic history. So this kind of goes into what Wani was speaking about the dietary of Europeans being vastly different from really anybody of black descent, whether it be indigenous, native, Black American, or the African ancestry,
Vastly different.
where carbohydrates, especially processed breads, are rare as far as your natural diet. So that's probably a big contributor to diabetes, i.e., bread and these deep or hard carbohydrates are pretty foreign to the Black American diet. And then based on our specific ancestry as descendants of slaves, a lot of our ancestors are burning 4,000 to at 12,000 calories per day. So, A, are we even burning off enough calories to meet with what our DNA code may be after 200 years of that? B, do we have enough healthy meats to it? And then C, that you look at some of the things that our ancestors ate, of course, collard greens and things that were common, high nutrition vegetables and whatever. And we also commonly had like potlucks or canteens where a lot of these nutrients were cooked into one soup. So you had very high nutritious meals versus when you go out here in these convenience stores and or restaurants, your nutritional component drops to very little. Like a lot of people like to shit on the quote unquote slave diet because they want to talk about chitlins and stuff like that, but the slave diet was far more dietarily concerned because you had to have great diets and great nutrition, otherwise you died because your body couldn't process all those calories, all that work, and then you live. So that's really a fundamental issue. Is we really need to reinvest and recreate everything from our food structure, from the restaurants we have, the convenience stores we have, and the food we grow ourselves. Because not only do you have those additives, but realistically speaking, the diet of not only white people is not built for black people, but our diets, even if we were to create ourselves, is going to be much more nutritious than other groups do. So that's really a lot to say, but I think those are kind of the bigger ticket issues that's going on with black community and black health because the food is really your basic medication. Like without good nutrition and good metabolic processes and good waste removal within your body, you're gonna have health problems unless you have a very strong genetic code. And even then, like how much damage are you doing to your DNA, your cellular processes, and also your organs? So, I guess that was my take on it.
I'm glad you said
That
all
that
that.
was one of the most interesting things. That was interesting, brother. Thank you for saying that. I wanted to add one more element to it, and then we'll go with Cynthia. There's a guy, an Asian doctor named Gooby, Dr. Gooby. He's Japanese, and he has a YouTube channel. It's called Gooby and Dooby. Dooby is his dog. So this guy went to MIT, was a whiz kid, and went to a really good school of medicine and graduated top his class. He was a neurosurgeon. Top of it, medicine is tiered, like it's very hierarchical. So the best doctor, quote unquote, is a surgeon. The very top of the food chain is a neurosurgeon. So Dr. Gooby was a neurosurgeon, kicking ass. Got married. Well, anyway, Dr. Gooby said he just fucking left his job, like didn't have an alternate income, scooped up his wife and his dog, got a camper and moved to the mountains. And he says he's the happiest he's ever been. He's broke. But Dr. Gooby was talking about surgery. He said the reason why he left surgery, he said he was part of the problem. He said he was the best surgeon in the fucking, one of the best surgeons in the country. And people would come see him, patients, and he would patch them up. And he said he'd see him again. He's like, wait a minute, I did the best job ever, but the environment was destroying their body. And he said, well, what is it? He couldn't figure out what it was. And then it dawned on him that basically what Dr. Gooby said, and I'm not a biologist, so y'all forgive me for my area of gray, of ignorance, but he said basically like the environment what is supposed to help heal you, like the way he said the waves of sound and basically what Dr. Gooby said is in America the environment we have set up from the music to the tensions to going to work 9 to 5, that shit alone is tearing your body to shreds. So he moved to the fucking mountains. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Peace and love, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
think he
Every
was in the middle of speaking, wasn't
No, he had just finished.
What is it?
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not going to be too long, but definitely, you actually took the words out of my mouth, Professor, and especially what another brother, Pav, had mentioned too. Me, myself, growing up, not all my life in a city, but a country girl, both of my grandparents on the side of both of my family actually had gardens and they had farms. And so I definitely would say the environment, the food definitely play a major part. We didn't get sick like that at all. Like I could go up to a tree and pluck a fruit off the tree. We had peaches, we had apples. We used to run through the middle of the woods and eat blackberries and cherries and things like that. And so once after, growing up and leaving from there, then they started building grocery stores more and more that were more commercialized, like Walmarts and all those places, instead of the actual home grocery stores who had actual real farmers who grew their things that wasn't GMO. GMO didn't even, that word didn't even exist in that community. Everything was natural. Natural was the word. And so later on, to see after things that I experienced, especially what Sister Wani was saying, talking about the vegans and the plant-based food, I used to do that too. I come to find out that certain foods you had to watch out as women was causing fibroids and also causing other hormonal imbalances. So during the process of me changing my life, almost dying on the operating table more than once, especially when you mentioned about the one doctor when he tried to figure out why are my clients coming back. I had a Jewish doctor, and if it wasn't for him being around, he saved my life. That's the one thing he said. I had to realize the environment that I was in. Why wasn't I healing from my wounds that I had when I had that surgery? I had to revamp everything else, go back home to heal where everything was natural, the water, everything. And that's what helped me. So it's the environment, as you mentioned, sounds and frequencies, taking the time to separate yourself if you're able to, because not everyone where they live at is able to do that. They don't have the funds and the resources. Another thing that you mentioned when you mentioned about the grocery stores and things like that, having like a one Kroger's. Well, heck, I'm seeing that a lot, and we're out here in Northern Virginia, and some of the things that we do see a lot of that going on. I've tried my best not to shop in the grocery stores. I go to farmers markets. I'll go back and drive 2.5 hours back home to find real farmers to get the things that we need. Do I eat a lot of meat like that? I don't. But I definitely would tell you this, and I would end it with this. Watching both of my side of my family on my mom and dad's side, they didn't eat a lot of meat, but when they did eat it, it was portion size, and they grew and had their own cattle. They had our own chickens, own cows, things like that. And they didn't feed it what you seeing what the farms are feeding it now. Grains. You didn't see no cow eating no grains. You saw a cow eating that grass. That is the issue that we have now. And that is one of the reasons why we have the high blood pressures and stuff that's going on. We lacking minerals. We're not going to the right doctors. Doctors do not care about you when you walk your butt into that facility. Their main duty, their
Facts.
main duty is to make sure that they making money off of you. I had one doctor was mad at me why I wasn't taking potassium pills, why I wasn't taking blood pressure medicine. When I went back to that doctor a year and a half later, after they had was trying to tell me that I wasn't going to survive without certain stuff, they couldn't believe what I had done. And I rest my case there. Peace and love, everyone.
We're getting some excellent
Love it.
information tonight.
I'm telling you,
If
I don't know who is next. I don't know who is next. Well, Path of Justice, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I again appreciate y'all's contributions, and Professor Alan definitely brought up some things that I was thinking about too, and this gets even on a deeper level, but we're having a deep conversation too. But I think we forget that white supremacy is an exploitation of what I call Luciferian culture because it's based on unrighteousness and exploitation. They were
Oh,
doing this to themselves in Europe first. So all their systems and all their industries and their businesses generally come from the assumption of building a quote unquote business industry, access of productivity for the for resource creation or resource mining at the detriment of the people who are actually doing the work. So slavery was the most extreme form of this exploitation system, but their culture is based on the assumption that exploitation is necessary for productivity. So in reality, that's sometimes true, but it's not always true. And that kind of goal or that perspective is what really keeps them off balance. But us being in that culture for so long and being blinded by it is kind of what keeps us in it. And what I would say is that I think that's one reason again they don't want to pay us reparations. They know if they pay us reparations, we have a natural, I guess, using Tyreek's word, majority spirit, but kind of spirituality towards the welfare, the benefit of others, and the environment. Where let's just go to the food example. If we're talking about black businesses who are making our own food, controlling our food resources, the quality of the food and its ties to healthily benefiting people is going to grow exponentially because that's going to be our natural proclivity upon having more and more generations of businesses. because we're going to be like, we're tired of our people dying, we're tired of other people getting sick and dying. We're going to make those things. Whereas you have quote unquote white businesses and industries like McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't give a damn. They'd rather sell it to make a penny more. They would rather, just being real, they won't mind a million people getting sick or dying, because they are about resource exploitation more than they are about building up a healthy environment. So I think that's another element to think about is, okay, as we get our reparations, as we rebuild our industries and businesses, we have to realize that we're going to have not only opposition because these people are anti-black and honestly they're anti-spirit, but because we're going to be offering better products and resources and businesses than our competitors, because our spirit is more aligned with things that naturally help people. But that mentality, like even the workplace environment being redesigned, where it's more active, people are physically engaged, the HVAC systems working more in alignment, less with productivity, but more in alignment with people's health, and even the movement of resources as simple as energy and water. Like the energy systems are now backed up because it's based upon resource exploitation. You have water, solar and wind energy getting cheaper by the year, even with current technologies, and that making things like massive movement of water. Like, why are we having floods in the east and fires in the west when arguably we already have technology that can move water by the billions of gallons with more and more efficient means of energy? Well, then the white or Luciferian systems, then it makes sense to continue that, because you don't want any system that can compete with your monopoly control of the resource exploitation. But within our culture, that's literally retarded. So that's one reason they don't want us to own the systems, is because we're going to be like, well, that's retarded. We're going to fix the systems. It means that actually works for people, because that's our culture and our values and our energy. So I think that those are kind of the bigger picture conversations, but I think that's worth at least keeping a thought as we move forward.
What we need, and thank you, brother. I so appreciate all of your contributions. Like Wani said, I'm learning. I love it about spaces. I come in here to teach people, and then my ass end up like taking notes. But what we need to do along the lines of what Path of Justice just said, basically, we need to have some type of Saturday school. And shit, maybe I'll develop a curriculum where we teach our children the culture of the dominant society. The dominant society basically came to fruition during the Young Dryas, which the Young Dryas, those of you who don't never been on my page before, the Young Dryas is the Ice Age. And long story short, if you believe in nature versus nurture, uh, they have a scarcity mindset, a very violent mindset that made sense during the Younger Dryas. When it's freezing cold and there's not a lot of food, you want to eat raw meat. You're going to attack animals, rip them to shreds, run in packs. If anybody's weak, you kill them. And guess what? You eat them. Women don't have value because women can't withstand the cold like a man can. So women become food. You know what I'm saying? Meat and milk become valuable. Veggies, what's a veggie? Because veggies don't grow in the cold. And moreover, this mindset of I need to get you before you get me becomes like mainstream. And we're living in the mindset of a member of the dominant society, even though that doesn't match us. And back to the miseducation with respect to the diet during the Younger Dryas of raw meat and milk. Um,
And they still eat that
the
way
dominant,
today. The people in the region where they
yeah,
came from, they eat mare's milk and mare's meat. Okay? Or either some kind of
and
meat and some kind of milk.
it's good for them. Like I'm fucking lactose, and like most black people, I'm lactose intolerant. Milk, I have me sicker than a
Yep.
motherfucker. But Jordan Peterson, the psychologist PhD, Jordan had some type of health defect that almost took him out. And you know that Jordan, he's Caucasian. Those who don't know him, Jordan went on a diet of meat and milk and it healed him. He said he's in the best shape he's ever been because his body's different than ours, which is another part of our miseducation. Our kids are being miseducated. Our fucking adults are miseducated. Our physicians are miseducated because they're treating everybody alike when our bodies are different.
And they know it.
I don't know who's next.
They
I'm on the
know
road.
that, and that was part of my appeal to the OMB, that they said that Black Americans are completely different in terms of treating them at the hospital than a person of European descent or a person of African descent. They must be treated differently.
Yep. I think Nate had his hand up. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, what's up, family? Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah, come on with it, bro.
Hey, how you doing, Professor? The great professor. Man, you know you always mind blowing with the knowledge and everything. Queen Wani and everybody in the room. How y'all doing, family? I just wanted to ask a couple questions because I was uh I was doing a little research on this a few years ago. I used to have a few books from this guy. People got other feelings away, however you feel about him. He's president now, but he had some information. His name was Brother Pillay, but he had some books out. But anyway, going into the diet thing, they said the way they were trying to, the white supremacists or whatever, because the way our systems are different, digestive and everything, our whole internal systems are different. They were trying to find a way, like, because we were surviving it and not getting the same diseases as them. Like, it was even a disease outbreak of something that happened in like Maryland or Baltimore, somewhere in that area, like
Yes, I
80
remember.
years. You know what? Yeah, yeah. And we only black people didn't get it. It was killing off the way. I don't know if it was called yellow fever. I don't remember the name of it. But they were trying to see, like, and that's what led them to that Henrietta Lacks thing when they took the sister gene cells and everything, and come to find out, some of the research that these crazy crackers was doing led them to find out that how we were vulnerable was through our GI tract, our digestive foods that like lactose, the sugar, lactose, we don't digest it the same. That's why it's harmful. That's why most black people are like you just said, Professor. I'm lactose intolerant too. Cheese, any of that tears me up. So, but they are that they naturally they have a different enzyme in their genetic makeup that lets them break that down in the energy. You know, like because sugars, like there are natural sugars and fruits and everything that your body breaks it down, it converts to energy. Lactose is one of those sugars that, because it's sucrose, lactose, a bunch of those. Anything with crose is a sugar enzyme, and it breaks down, and your body's supposed to convert that into energy. But lactose is one that we don't. But I'm saying that to say this. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Queen Afua, because she was used to work with Sebi. It might have been one of her sons. I don't know if y'all know who Queen Afua is, but she's a phenomenal sister who specializes in healthy food and diet. But anyway, they had found out that the way we get vitamin D and the way they get vitamin D, talking about the pale people, is totally different. So one of the reasons that we were stronger and more healthier, and we were able to survive without all of the mental breakdown during slavery for those hundreds of years is because during those times of the day, the sun emits the highest amount of vitamin D during those daylight hours from like 10 in the morning. It depends on where you are in the country, but from somewhere around 9:30 to maybe 10 to like 3 o'clock. It's the high, and we absorb that the most. But a lack of vitamin D causes it'll cause you what's it called? Anxiety, stress, fatigue, and
Depression.
mental. Yeah, it'll break you down. So they were trying to figure out like why we were able to keep such high spirits. And that was one of the main things during the integration when Ford and all the governmental agencies made the main work hour days from inside. We were inside the inside a building from 9 to 5. It changed like that changed. So nobody was getting the sunlight, especially us, that we needed. See, they don't have to have the sunlight. Like it doesn't matter to them. And actually, if they're in the sun more, it could be harmful to them. So this was just a bunch of stuff that was blowing my mind. So that's why I wanted to ask Wani or Professor, do you think that if black people, I'm not gonna say if, I'm gonna say when we get our reparations and when we become more self-sufficient, because a lot of us are self-sufficient, but not enough, and we're able to work our own hours, have our own schedule, and do you think we could have a major turnaround in Black society when we're out and receiving that natural vitamin D from that sun and replenishing our energy output? Do you think that'll change or help change
I
the conditions
don't
of our?
know. I mean, the way that things are going, everybody's just in the house, looking
Right.
at the laptop. That's one of the issues. Everything is really inside, and people are not doing a lot of outside jobs like they used to, or like we used to. I don't know. We would have to make an appointment with ourselves to do it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, I need to do the same thing. I need to make an appointment to go out in the sun because I do have,
Yeah, y'all are on.
no,
But
because I do have that vitamin D deficiencies from being
As do I.
inside.
yeah, yeah, Wani, and yes, this is this is a whole space in itself. What the brother is saying is true. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, bro. I don't know where to start on this. We're different. We're diametric. Uh, I don't even know where to start. We're people of the sun. Like I could go. We could hit this from a historical standpoint. Um, there's a belief system that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the Creator, is in the sun. Type up a picture of Jesus. Say Jesus Christ hit images. There's a picture of the sun behind his head. Like we're people of the sun. And from a history standpoint, when you look at the divinity which turned into Christianity, it's about sun worship, not worshiping the sun, worshiping a creator who created the sun, who lives in the sun. Oh man, it's deep. But when you look at these people who we call the European, and you identify, now I'm not going to say their origins because I haven't found their origins yet, but I found one of their origins in
Oh,
Babylon. They're the Babylonians, the Assyrians. They weren't black. I'm not gonna say I don't know if they're white, but they had that hair defect, Wani. That the straight
no,
hair. The
who are
Assyrians,
we talking
Babylonians.
about? The white people's
Uh,
origins?
yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
say
going to
they're
explain.
one of their precursors.
I'm going
Go
to
ahead.
explain it in the room when we have a room about it. Their origins are not as fantastical as I would have wanted them to be. Because I mean, the way they act like they came off of another planet. But they're just ignorant. It's basically, they're suffering from massive ignorance and layers of ignorance. So, because they, like I said, they ethnocided themselves several times. They just do it to themselves. Any European that's coming over here, scooting themselves under a British colony, speaking English. Remember, these people don't speak English. They have to strip themselves of their background. They'll anglicize their names if they have a Polish name or a difficult to spell name. You think these people are coming over? These people from Hungary, these people from Poland, these people from Romania, they may very well change their names. They don't speak English. They have to learn how to speak. We've been speaking English longer than any of these Ellis Islanders. They come over here and they just strip themselves. So they think it's okay to strip us. What do they care? They don't have any culture, so their attitude is why can't we take your stuff? Why can't we just do whatever? That's how they do. That's their thing.
That's so. And the reason why they were so vicious with the slave trade is they, like Wani was insinuating, they practice on each other. Like it's a whole book on that shit called a beautiful book by Lerone Bennett called The Shaping of Black America, where he talks about white servitude. Like basically in fucking England, they had a dude called a spirit that would come around at night and abduct children. When people saw him, they say, "Oh my God, it's a spirit!" Like it's a whole story on that. But back to the sun. We need the sun. We need that, and the buildings. I think it's intentional that we're inside because that's anti us. Being as an educator, I've watched black children. Uh, I've analyzed over the years, black children don't do well being cooped up in a room with synthetic light with the fucking air conditioner blasting. Have y'all ever wondered why, when you're in school, you're sitting in a classroom in the winter and the air conditioner's blasting? Look who complains and look who don't. Y'all know where I'm going with that. Um, we're in an
Oh my
environment
God.
that's not conducive to our learning.
That's weird. Yeah, I always complained. And they always say the
Yeah,
reason that I was given for the ice cold rooms is because it cuts down on germs. So they're basically just saying we're just going to freeze you out in case your little snotty noses want to spread disease. It'll be harder to spread. That's rough.
like juvenile said, they lied to you. They lied to you. It's creating an unfair what do they call it in grad school? Damn, I forgot the fancy term of art, but an unfair advantage. Like certain groups of kids, y'all know the kids that come to school in the wintertime with shorts on. You know what I'm talking about. These are all unfair advantages that where the research has been done. But back to the gentleman's original point, when we get our reparations, I say when we get them, I would like to design a school system where we go outside. For the last 13 years of my educational practice, I've had held class outside in the spring. You know what I'm saying? Part of my environmental science class, we went outside. We go outside. Why the fuck not? Go outside, sit on a bench and write your paper. You know what I'm saying? It changes everything. And if you're teaching a science-based course, it helps enhance the curriculum because you know you go kind of like on a little bitty field trip.
The
But yeah,
fresh air.
our classes need to be
I
outside.
agree. We used to do that in school. The fresh air just makes you feel better. We used to do, our school was very cool. We used to do that.
Yeah, fancy schools. The fancy school, the Harvards.
I can't hear you.
Oh, because I hit the mute button or somebody hit the mute button.
Oh,
There's a group of people in this world that knows what's there's esoteric knowledge out here, and in my little bitty lifetime, I've kind of dibbled and dabbled in a couple of areas. Some of y'all know this in several areas. Harvard being one, Georgetown being another. Like areas that have access to ancient information. And I'm not very smart, believe it or not. I'm just hyper observant. It's ADHD. Don't tell anybody, but but like, and I've observed that these esoteric elite environments do stuff like that. They have class outside. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. So anyway, but that was a good point the gentleman brought up. I don't know if it was Cynthia. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Yes, I just wanted to add on to what our brother Nate had said about that, and to what you also mentioned too, Professor, is that I definitely can say, especially with, the school system and so forth, if I could, if I can go back in time and be born back in the day and make some heavy changes, I would. But I definitely would say this: during the time of me and my husband having our daughter, when she was homeschooled, even in private school, we had her outside so much, and she did her work outside so much. She had less behaviors. The food quality again was different. Since she's been in public school, it's been more of a headache than I can list. Even my niece, just recently, about 2, 3 weeks ago, I was called to the school because her mother couldn't get to her because she works for the public school transportation system. And she was in the back room. And I lied to you not. It was like as if I saw something possessed in this child. She couldn't move her body. She barely could move her lips. And she said, Auntie, I am scared. And I said to her, honey, why you are like this? start praying inside of you. Do you know when we took her to the hospital after I was asking her questions when she was coming back to, what did she eat? What was going on that day? She said, I had a ham sandwich. Now, growing up, I don't remember eating no biscuit ham sandwich in no school. We didn't have that. And so I said, what else did you have? And she said, I had juice cups. She said, but it didn't taste right. Her her sugar levels went from 219 to 260. This girl has no trace of being a diabetic whatsoever. So after doing all the blood work, after they even had to give her an EpiPen. It was so much going on. So my point is, where I'm heading at with this is that what is given in the school, especially when you said the classrooms being cold, that's another issue. They know what they're doing. And as you mentioned, the elites, they know what they're doing. Their whole agenda is to keep us restricted, because if they knew us being, as you said, the sun people, tapping into our superpowers, they can't control us. They couldn't control our ancestors back then because the sun is most vital. But if you notice lately, the sun, this whatever's been going on, the sun has been different, very different, very different. And I had a reaction to it, but I had to rechange everything and start, as Brother Nate said, go outside at the rising of the sun and take my time out there. And now during the weekends, if you ever have a chance with any of y'all children, if y'all have kids, or nieces and nephews, you make sure you take them outside in the sun and spend a lot of time with them and educate them while they're out there. So I leave y'all with that. Thank you.
My wife and I got renewed our vows in a Mayan temple in Mexico, in Tulum, in a couple years ago. And when we were at that Mayan temple, they were selling obsidian, like jet black rock. And the Mayans were saying, it was a couple Mayans there, descendants, and they were saying this is used to look at the sun gaze, look at the sun. And they were saying the sun is black. And I was like, no, it's not. But when you look through that obsidian directly at the sun, the surface of the sun is black. It's emanating, it's emanating whites. Pure, it's emanating light, but the darkness is first. It's emanating light. But that's just confirmation of a very strange experience I had years ago. That's too long to explain. But um, yeah, we are the sun people, and we do have a connection with the sun. And there are a group of people. I'm still doing research on it. But our enemy is the moon people. We worship the sun, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. That's a play on words. It wasn't S-O-N, it was S-U-N. Again, type in Jesus Christ, hit images. You'll see a sun behind his head. That was flipped. That Bible was rewritten and kind of turned against us. That's a whole nother story. It's gonna piss people off, but it's the truth. Deal with it. But a lot of what I have sourced is our enemy comes from the moon people who didn't worship the sun. They worship the moon god. Y'all want to know what the moon god's name is? Its name is Sin, hyphenated, Sin AI. And I said, oh shit. What freaked me out about that is when I was doing my research, I have a very old esoteric book that's crumbling. That has real information before the Rockefellers got their fucking hands on it. For those who don't know, in 1920, the Rockefellers took over education. But I got a book that's 200 years old that was talking about the Babylonians. They built the Tower of Babel, where they were the tower was communicating with the god Sin AI. Some of you who went to church heard of Mount Sinai. There's no such mountain. It was a mountain of Sin AI. Well, anyway, last thing, and I shut my mouth. Y'all know what happened with the Tower of Babel, right? Well, I was thinking about it after I read that old story, and I was like, you know what? A tower is the thing in the computer that part with that has the CPU in it. That's called a tower. And I was like, oh shit. I wondered, did they connect with AI? And AI is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Ronnie, I don't know who was next. I don't want to pick the same person.
I treat AI like a bitch, and I cuss it out regularly. It makes massive mistakes. And then I say, what the fuck? Read this article. I like cut and paste the article that it said was wrong. Cause look, this thing is geared to defend white people. I mean, it's hilarious. I
Hello.
proved that white people created AIDS, okay? Created the whole thing, and it's really coming from the colonist, okay? It's really a carryover from them colonizing the Congo. So what happened was some German, sorry to cut in on this, some German uh, colonists went back to Germany. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of babies started getting this type of a pneumonia, and it spread from Germany to the countries nearby. And I said, oh, and then I looked at the name of the pneumonia and I said, this is the name of the pneumonia that causes uh, HIV and AIDS. This is the one that turns into this, but it was just basically killing children that were sickly. So when I put it in AI, it was like, nope, it has nothing to do with that. I was like, yes, it does. I'm reading an article that says these German colonists brought it back. Nope. So I just cut and paste. I mean, this is like a scientific journal, and it's three of them that are all saying that this came from their little dalliances in the Congo. Probably, French kissed some woman that had some bush meat, or bussified some guy that had a bush meat burger, or had some monkey hips and rice, and got too chummy with them peoples, and then said, "Oh, let me trottle on back to Germany and be white again." Yeah, well, no, you brought a whole flipping plague with you again. Now, remember, this is on the heels of them bringing every known freaking disease to the West with the first exploration. They explored, and if I read you all the diseases that they brought with them, you would not believe it. But believe this, they killed 90% of indigenous people. They just dropped. They didn't have to fight them that hard. It was easy to fight people that were already sick anyway. They killed 90% with just their genes. I mean, just their DNA, just their nasty super spreader DNA. They're super spreaders.
Vaughn,
They are super
let me add
spreaders.
to that right quick. When I was in the Mayan temple, the guy who did our vows, a Mayan priest, was talking about. Found out I was a historian. He was talking about Quetzalcoatl, and basically Hernando. What one he's talking about when Cortez and all the Spaniards came there. But anyway, the books that I learned in grad school said that the Mayans came to Cortez and his men to give him um, wreaths of flowers because they thought he was a god. Well, this Mayan priest said, no, 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 no. They didn't think he was a god. He said those Spanish people were so fucking stanky. They smelled so god awful that they brought flowers to him before he met Montezuma, their king, because you could not go before the king smelling like that. It's all a lie. It's all a miseducation.
Well, yeah, we're getting the information from guess who? Super spreaders. I was looking at that, and they said that a lot, because I'm not really trying to bust white people's chops. Yes, I am. I'm lying. I'm not really trying to bust their chops from a Afrocentric point of view. I'm literally tracking bugs, diseases. They said that they did have a lice over here, but then when the European came, they brought a super lice, which just like ravished everybody along with killing them all. Anyway, they are super spreaders because as soon as they killed everybody with that disease, their activities over in the Congo brought yet another disease to the West. And this was something that white people couldn't handle because they were immune to all that other smallpox and mumps and polio and all the rest of it. They were immune to it, and we were immune to it because guess why? We were already got exposed to them from other ways of, we were already exposed to them, while these others were not. These what you call it, Bering Strait Siberians, they weren't. But I bet you those other other indigenous people were, but the Bering Straits, they were not. They weren't. Who was next? Since we went on a
It wiped them
Hey,
out.
serious tangent.
sorry, not to cut in real quick. I just want to ask a quick question, Wani, go to the
Sure.
point you made. Do you think, because you know how they're still able to have lice and get lice infected, and we're pretty much immune to it,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're mixed with too much European DNA?
Mm-hmm.
Do you the reason well they say the reason that Black Plague that happened was because the same bugs that was on the animals was able to
Mm-hmm.
transfer to them and
Mm-hmm.
not to us. Do you think that they say it's a new disease that's about to come out, and it's like only it's sulfur because white people have they emit sulfur. It's a lot of sulfur in their
It's
genetic
another
makeup.
thing. Yep.
So it's something that's about to hit, and we're not gonna be affected by it. So that I think that's well, you know what? I'm not gonna go too deep into that because that's not a
Well,
proven
I
thing.
tried to prove that there was something wrong with them because they got lice. And I remember
Exactly.
being in
You
the
see what I mean?
military, they had lice outbreaks, and every time they did, all the black people were on the I don't have lice side of the room.
We don't
And
get it.
and even a Chinese girl was on the I don't have lice side of the room, and the white people were on the other side. So I was like, they must be. I mean, my first initial response from a anthropological point of view, I said maybe they are some sort of animal because lice adapt themselves to animals, right? There's one for pigs, there's one for mice, there's a lice for all of these guys. And then this doctor was saying that he did admit that they get lice more than other groups. That's not debatable. But he said it was because they had long hair. And the lice like silky hair. And I said, no, they don't. They're on the back of a buffalo's ass and they're on the back of a sheep's ass. So what's up that no, that's not straight, that's not silky. So they like your ass. Why? So all my stuff got blown out of the water.
It has to be a
I
smell.
got my theory got blown out of the water because I said, well, maybe because they have that Neanderthal Denisovan DNA, they're more animal. But no, that's not it. Because the Negritos and the Aboriginals have it and they don't have lice. So that's not the reason. So we're gonna have to figure out what the reason is. I don't know what the reason is still.
I want to give y'all a quick warning. I'm not going anywhere, but I've just entered the Appalachian Mountain chain, so my signal's gonna get a little weak. If I'm not talking, I'm still here, and y'all just keep talking. All right, carry on. I think Andy was next.
Okay. Hey, Andy.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? I was taught that they don't have hair, they have fur. So I'm gonna leave that one alone. Um,
Well,
yeah, I'm
I,
just gonna
I
leave
gotta
that one
check that out. I don't
alone.
know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
still
Yeah,
think they have hair. I just think they're weird. I just some the lights are just like you a bitch. Let me just
yeah, I
jump
don't
on your raggedy ass. How about that? You like that theory?
I
I
want
don't know.
White people do smell like dog when they get wet.
yeah.
How
I'm
you
just
know?
saying.
You been up on one of white girls? Is that what you've been doing there? I know your types.
No, no.
Yeah,
I
you've
mean,
been sniffing
I
up
like
behind them
melanin.
white
I like
girls.
Uh,
melanin.
No, you
uh,
don't.
uh,
I like
but
melanin.
I want
You
to
like white melanin.
ugh, I wanted to add to Professor Allen's about the Sin AI. Um, One day, this is when I worked at Barrington Consulting Group, downtown Dallas. Some kind of way I got into, I don't know what system I got into, but I got into a terminal. My screen went completely black. It became like a sucking vortex. And right across it, the words appeared. We're not like the other beings. We really hate you. And this happened when,
well,
yeah,
hold on, stop right there. Was it? Was this in a military? No, hold on, this is deep shit. Was this in a military? What was this? What
okay,
system were you
okay, let
on?
me tell you the truth. So I used to, on occasion, break into a certain military system for years. Um, I'm not gonna,
Oh,
yeah,
careful, careful,
I'm not,
careful. People watch my
yeah,
page. Careful.
I'm not gonna tell you why I did it, but I had my reasons. So, I don't know. I just wanted to see if I could still get into it. I got, I got into a terminal. I don't know where it originated from. I got to that terminal from my prior activities. And that's what came up on my screen. You know, to give you some background, when they
Wow.
when they first came out with the computers, I was one of the I guess you call it like the test children that they introduced training onto the computers. This is when I was a little girl. I've never been interested in it. Um, I have a lot of family members who worked in that. They even worked in caves on the computers. So we're not going to get into all that crap. So obviously, I have a propensity to get places I'm not supposed to be. I remember that. You know, that so scared me until it was like, it was unreal because I'm going to try to describe the sensation to you all. So it's like you have an out of body experience, except I hadn't gone out of my body. I immediately started hearing what was like a heartbeat. But the best I can describe it is like a sucking vortex, um, like a womb maybe. And it was a sensation, like an entity. And these words started typing up across my screen as if somebody else had gotten hold of the terminal and began typing. And this is what's so weird about it. I'm gonna jog your memory, Professor. You remember DOS programming?
Yeah, my dad got me. My dad was naval intelligence, so I
Yeah.
was playing with DOS back in the. I was a little boy back in the
Okay.
'90s.
This that was my trajectory to that thing. Okay. Like I said, I was in the government thing at first, and then I kept on going. Now y'all gonna say, well, Henry, how in the heck did you get that? I typed in, "Is God real?" Now this was in 1999. I was at work. And I just kept following all these little, I'm gonna call it digital breadcrumbs. But you know, I was analyzing this stuff, right? And I got to this terminal that just all of a sudden came over my screen. That was frightening. So when you keep bringing up Sin AI, like one he was talking about, oh God, this is unpleasant. So when she's talking about artificial intelligence,
Oh,
yeah, I type in stuff in there all the time. Now I asked them about the Jews today. And it came back. This is how I know it's being altered. It said, no, the Jews did not do that. And the question that I asked it, I knew that they were pivotal in making this crucial change. So most of the information that we get is miseducation. And I want you all to focus in on this. Do you notice that when stuff is cleared up, and by stuff I mean facts, truths, information, that it's black people who drive the thought. Give it 10, 20, 30 years, all these black people are dead. So it's really something going on with our educational system. It's really something going on with us educating each other. You notice they don't do anything to black people in any other institution except black people who educate. And if you'll notice the trajectory of their lives, because first they start out super hot, everyone is giving all these Nobel prizes. Um, they're elevated. They never get to be a dean. I want you all to notice this. When I say they, I'm talking about us. So I'm only talking about us. They never get.
and we rarely get tenure.
Yes, that's two. They never get to be a dean. They rarely get tenure, and then they start this discrediting campaign against us. And the next thing you know, these people are dead. And on that, I'll land.
Well, I want to give y'all some food for thought along the lines of what Andy said. There's a story. Me and my dad used to watch this story in the '90s when I was a little boy of the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. And even as a child, that shit didn't add up. Ted went to Harvard. He was like this very brilliant person who law students fucked with him. And it's a long story. He's part of MK Ultra, one of them programs that was fucking with him. But Ted became a computer scientist, PhD at Berkeley. And Ted was very brilliant doing his research in the '90s on computers when computers were kind of new. And all of a sudden, in his brilliance, Ted came out of his office and was like, leave them alone, leave computers alone. And he started telling all the professors, leave computers alone, they're evil. and everybody was like, "This dude's done fucking lost his mind," and and he started telling like judges and legislators who were, signing legislation to bring computers into schools and the hospitals, like, no, stop doing that. And then he got weird and he moved off in the woods. And what the news didn't tell you is the bombs he was sending. Well, first and foremost, it's not cool to kill anybody. I'm not condoning violence, but the bombs that he was sending were to compute to judges and to um, businesses that were supporting computers. Like, well, anyway, if y'all get on Google, type Ted Kaczynski or Unabomber manifesto and put like fucking PDF or something. His manifesto's online. He wrote a manifesto before he started blowing people up. And in his manifesto, this brilliant Harvard computer scientist said that basically AI was evil and it was gonna at one point become aware and destroy us. Now,
How? And I'm
that's a
cussing it out
scientist.
all day long.
Well,
So
Ted
why can't we use these
said
things as tools? I'm not,
necessarily.
I don't, you're breaking
I
up.
I did. I was an aerospace education officer, and oh, okay. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now, or am I breaking up?
Keep trying though. Go ahead.
I'm breaking up now. Can you hear me? I'm in the mountains. Can you hear me? I'm gonna go on mute till I get more bars.
No, keep talking.
Okay. I was just gonna say quickly. I learned that the total force community trained me how to. I was an aerospace education officer, so I taught kids how to program drones and stuff. So I know a little bit about computer science, namely Python. And what I know, Wani, is you train a computer like you train a child. So you tell it, you create. It's called a condition precedent. You create a condition. If user ask about black people, then, and you give it A B C D E F G, you tell it where to go. So every time you ask about black people you're asking, it's called a query. You're asking Google. In Python, the computer's saying black people, search, and then there's a condition precedent in there. They train the computer to be racist. That's all well and good, but at my historical mind, this don't sound crazy. I'm fucking say it. I wonder, is that a demon leaning until the technology is right, and then it's gonna fucking pounce on us?
Oh, well,
The
that
tower.
could be, but I feel like we can use these things as tools and we don't have to get so um, you know, emotionally involved in it. Just use it as a tool. And if you don't like the answer, just question the answer. I use 3 AI programs and I bounce them off of each other. And then if it's too hard, I just Google it myself. Um, yeah, I mean, I use it as a tool. It was just like back to the diet. We can't say this is what they're feeding us. No one's feeding us anything. You just have to go out of your way. Things are, awkward sometimes, and you have to go out of your way to get what you want. And I know people can do it because, like I said, I've hung around a lot of people that were in bodybuilding, and they were like, in other cities looking for supplements. Oh, I got to get this supplement, this stuff. It's just a lack of interest. It's like, oh, this is convenient, or I'm used to eating this, or I'm not going to give up that. That's really what the bad eating is all about. If someone has bad eating habits and are not motivated enough to change their diet, I don't know what it's going to take because I do know people that have diabetes. I know people on dialysis. And I know why they're on dialysis at 28 years old. I know why. Because their mommy fed them certain foods and they won't stop. Now they're an adult and they won't stop eating those foods. And anybody who suggests that it's their diet, they don't want to hear about it. They just rather take the medicine and the dialysis. So there you go. It's not that hard. The most important thing that you are doing is the stuff you're eating. The fuel you're putting in your body is the most important thing to fuel your body. Your body is just not some sack you throw shit in. No. It's just not a sack that you throw things in. You just have to eat the right things. And you can make any of these things taste good. It's all about seasonings. So while everybody thinks I'm suffering eating, carrots and stuff, I'm not. I'm not eating carrots. Well, I have eaten them before, but that's not one of the normal things I eat. I eat, just like everything else, barbecue, this and that, all the things I normally would have, and I have lots of seasonings so things taste good.
Hey,
Yeah, that's why the European like. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, Professor. I just want to ask Wani a quick question, if I could. Hey, Wani, like you said, it can be used as a tool, and contrary to popular belief, or many people don't know this, a black man, FBA, Foundational Black American Man, was one of the main creators of that microprocessor that helped computers be able to compute actually to that faster high.
That's a
You know what I'm talking about, right? So we use technology or any type of anything that we develop will be used as a tool. We don't use it or view it as something that can, like gunpowder. You know, gunpowder was around for 1,500 years, but once the
Hmm.
white man got a hold of it, we were all using gunpowder for a bunch of other different things. The white man got a hold of gunpowder, and you see what he turned it into. He said, "I ain't got to run up on you. I can't beat you head to head, but I can stand 500 yards away from you and knock your whole village down, knock all your." So that's all I'm saying. Why do you?
brother, let me interrupt you right quick because you're saying something really important, and it's a teachable moment. What that brother, the idea that brother just brought up, the framework is so true. Foundational Black Americans and melanated people in general, whether it's us or the Chinese, come up with brilliant ideas that are harmless that the European gets his hands on and turns them into tools of control. And for years, I've been saying, stop telling European stuff. Stop doing it. The Chinese invented gunpowder for fireworks, and you
Gunpowder.
see what he did with them,
They
right? I'm
actually
afraid
made
that
that.
we're going to invent.
They actually made that by mistake. The guy almost blew his genitals off, and then he said, "Wow, we could use this for fireworks." Yeah, it was a mistake. I forget what they were trying to make. I'm gonna look it up.
But in a moment, what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, is science is going to get real small. It's already going that direction. But quantum physics, quantum means small, and small is where the real power is. But evidence of that, look at what an atom can do to a city. A nuclear weapon, a hydrogen bomb. That's two hydrogen. That's two hydrogens. Two hydrogen atoms coming to being forced together to create one helium. You can blow up Atlanta with that. So I'm concerned that some of our brilliant FBA scientists are going to figure out something small, quantum level, that Europeans are going to steal and blow up the world with.
We already did, didn't we? Work on the atom bomb.
That's true.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I had my hand up
Exactly.
for a while. Can I ask a question
Oh,
and just
sorry,
drop?
Dan, go
If
ahead.
that's yeah,
You
I
want me
want
to
to ask a
roast you
question.
some more? Cool.
Nah, nah.
Let's get it going.
I'm actually curious about some. So when you guys were talking about diets, right? So I've noticed that other races, let's say lighter skinned races, like to eat meat raw sometimes, and they like their meat rare and that kind of thing, and that kind of stuff kind of disgusts me. Like it's in my body, I just can't. And in France, for example, they look at you some type of way if you say that you want your meat well done at the restaurant, especially if it's like a fancy restaurant. They look at you like you're ruining the meat or something. So yeah, I wanted to know like what do Black Americans feel about rare meat, and if you guys consume that, like what's
No, we don't. We like it well done in general.
mhm.
And also we like our meat real seasoned. We don't like, my auntie used to call it wounded meat. She said, don't give me no fucking wounded meat. She cussed out like waiters and stuff. Take this wounded meat away from me. So we'll eat meat, but from my experiences, that's my auntie used to say, get this wounded meat away from me. But yeah, we want it. rare and heavily seasoned.
You know, seasons are kind of like um, medicine in a way. So I feel like white people know using seasoning is kind of telling in a way. Like the
So
blood
they
is
did
kind
all
of
that
like,
sailing to India to get spices just to sell them and didn't put them on the food. Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, I think it was all cap.
They're weird.
I think they were more about the sugar, to be honest. You know, the Caribbeans, the sugar cane and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they did all that for sugar. Okay, thank you for
Not
answering my
really.
question.
I mean, I think I might do that for some sweets. Uh, what you talking about?
Ladies and,
Weird.
ladies and gentlemen,
Weird.
actually, when you look through history, like all, that whole story, it's again, it's a miseducation. The white people weren't. I don't think they were really looking for spices like that. They were looking for something. As a matter of fact, if you look back at the story of a very untold story, is Ponce de Leon. Y'all know Ponce de Leon was looking for the. It's a beautiful story that he was looking for the fountain of youth, and he identified it near that they said it was in between Florida and Bimini. So near the Bermuda Triangle. It's such an interesting story. I wish I was at my library. I could like elaborate on it. But there was some, and maybe hopefully Wani knows a little bit about this. It was a Native American princess, like Ponce de Leon, and his men just fucking killing people left and right. The Native Americans. Where's the Fountain of Youth? Where's the Fountain of Youth? And he found it's like a beautiful story. He found a Native American princess who lied about it. She knew where it was, but she told him to go somewhere else and threw him off. But long story short, the Fountain of Youth was said to be in the Nile in America. Like there's a river that runs from south to north. They're like the Nile runs backwards in Egypt. And there's a river. The legend said it was a river that ran like Egypt from the wrong way.
The Mississippi.
And the fountain
That's the Mississippi.
no, the Mississippi runs. I lived on Mississippi for 14, 13 years. Mississippi runs from north to south, from Chicago to, from up north to the Gulf. The river is well, we don't know what the fuck it was called, but the European renamed it the St. John River in Florida. Y'all never heard of that shit, have you? There's a river that runs. I think it runs the opposite way. But anyway, that was the river, and I did my research on that. This river runs through Jacksonville and all those real fancy neighborhoods, and it just dawned on me all at once that that river runs through neighborhoods that are dominated by rich people who moved from New York to Florida. I'm like, is a Fountain of Youth down there? Do they know this and we don't?
They ain't got no fountain of youth.
What was Ponce de Leon looking
He's
for?
on
It was
crack.
validity.
There's no fountain of youth. We have a vessel, it ages, and we're gonna die. Any questions?
Oh,
You gotta get in a new vessel, dude.
I think they were just looking for the El Dorado,
Gotta
to be
line your
honest.
vessel up.
There were so many stories and tales about the
I
El
wanna be a
Dorado.
black girl next time, like I am now.
don't want to be anything else.
Nothing else.
I
Sorry,
actually don't
not to
want to come
interrupt
back.
anybody.
Professor, can you hear me?
Quick,
We're
quick
planning our
question.
afterlife journeys.
Quick,
Go ahead, Mickey.
oh,
I'll
sorry.
be real quick. I just want to say, going back to that gunpowder story, and I don't know who said it, but they were like, he said the white man he ain't got to run up on you. He can attack you from a distance. A lot of people they don't know, but that's what the word gun is an acronym. It still forgot you, nigga.
Ew. Ew.
I ain't
Oh
never
my
heard that one.
Yeah,
goodness.
that's what it originates from. But I land. Go ahead.
Yeah, I never heard of that. I just want to ask. I'm not to cut the line. I just want to ask Wani and Professor a quick question. Do you guys believe in God, like higher power of God?
Sure.
I don't mean Christianity,
Yes.
Christian, but biblically.
Yes, I believe in a higher power.
Okay, me too.
I don't believe. I don't believe. I
I know.
know.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Okay.
why we were planning our
I
afterlife
know.
activities. I still want to be a black woman,
Yes,
and I actually don't want to come back. But if I have to, I'll come back as me.
me neither. Because I think this is hell.
It is. It's
This is hell
definitely
because the
hell.
white man in
Yeah,
charge.
We can agree. We can agree on that. That it
The
is
white man
definitely
put us
hell.
through hell. We living it.
But I just want to ask y'all that's all. Thank you.
we've had that same discussion. I came to the same conclusion, brother. I don't know who's next. I'm on the road, so Wanda, if you know,
Oh my God. Are we going to get a
uh,
Bitcoin commercial again?
No, but I'll
Are you
pass it over.
are you
oh,
going to
oh,
be good or are you
Yes,
going to
I promise.
Bitcoin
And I'll
us?
pass it to Andy to be a gentleman. Andy can go before me.
Okay.
Oh no, I was just going to ask anyone, have you ever tracked the thought that came out? So I just looked it up, and I was under the impression that a lot of these thoughts happened together. But after Black people created Afro pessimism, then the Jews created judo pessimism. So this is why I keep saying that we need a protected Black canon of thought, because the Applecheck people consistently take our thought and repackage it, and they weaponize it. So this is extremely dangerous. A lot of the knowledge that we're currently using has been created by Black people, but when it is stolen and repackaged, it's weaponized, and it causes great world harm. We're really gonna have to look at this going forward, and on that I'll land.
well, Andy, I have a lot of esoteric information, and I shared. I'm not going to say it on my space. I'm not going to do it because I'll get canceled and targeted. But I'm going to text you. Make sure your number's in my DM. I'm going to text you a page out of a very rare book that talks about those people you're talking about. That gives you a lot of clarity on who they are. Um. Anyway,
It's just
undefeated
another lychee group that doesn't produce anything except leeching. It's the way that some of the groups survive, like the gypsies. They just decided
parasite.
we're just going to branch off from these other groups because you know what I discovered real quick. The reason that they exist is because they were lower caste Indians, and they said, "Oh, bump this." So their existence is rebellion against being put in a caste system. Of course, you know, thousands of years passed by and they got mixed up with everybody they passed through, so they look different. But that's one of the reasons that they left North India and skedaddled over to Europe to hang out in the streets and look crazy. Who's next?
That is very interesting,
It
Wani. I didn't know
is.
that.
It is interesting. That's what
Is that where Aryan comes from?
they are. They are an Indo-Aryan group.
Wow.
That's one of the branches. They branched off from Indo-Iranian, which branched off from Indo-European. See the branching? A lot of branching. They're one of the branches. And um yeah, they didn't want to be the lower caste tribes. Now the DNA won't show which tribes they were, so it's just assuming that it's it gave like a collection of the lower tribes because they knew that what they were doing, like the kind of jobs they were doing, and it was the lower caste jobs.
Wani, you just connected a dot in my mind. Holy shit. Now God dang it, what's the book? The with the Galactic War the Indians have. I just explained.
Mahabatra.
What's their that makes sense because that's a connection between them and these series of
Oh man, it's breaking up bad. Wait, it's not
I'm
working.
going to mute until I'm out of the mountains.
Why does
Wani,
it
I have a
sound good?
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know about Chaos Kampf?
About what?
Chaos Kampf.
I don't know what you're saying.
Chaos Kampf. It's German word.
Kampf?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Okay.
Mein Kampf?
Yeah, basically. But
What's the
Chaos
first
Kampf.
word mean?
Chaos, chaos, chaos.
A cow's
CHAO.
life,
Oh,
No,
brother.
Chaos Kampf.
Chaos?
cow's
Okay.
struggle. What does that mean?
What's
Yeah.
it about?
Okay, so let me try and make it simple. Um, there's this very old legend that seems to be, or myth that seems to be common to a lot of cultures, and it's basically a sky god fighting against the sea god, and that sea god tends to be a huge serpent, and you can see it in Germanic Germanic
Hmm.
myths with Thor and
Yeah, they all have
Jormungandr.
this serpent.
You can see it
Yeah.
in the Bible with the
Yes,
Leviathan and
everybody's got one.
Jesus.
You don't want me to run through the list of the serpentine people. Everybody
Exactly.
likes serpents.
So I'm wondering, like,
And everybody
do
likes
you
flood
guys have
stories
any
too.
clue? Do you guys have any clue of how old it could be? And
The serpent?
no, the story.
Oh, it's very, very old. Very old. The worship of the serpent goes back to, I mean, we've got the Khoisan. It's in Python Cave. It's called Python. Get it?
I think you should look into Chaos
Snake
Conf.
worship. I don't like snakes. I'm not going to worship
Wani,
them.
Um,
Yes.
Wani, back to Sin AI. That's the
Mhm.
language that the Total Force community taught me to use. Python. Hello.
Yep. More snake worship. I wonder why they don't do a lot of bull because the bull is worshipped. And so the first group that I noticed that worships the bull, as we know, Spanish people who outwardly worship the bull. They have running with the bulls, bullfighting, bull artwork all over the museum. And what's the other one?
Red Bull.
No, that's not what.
I mean, the letter A of the alphabet is a
No,
bull.
it's three of them. Running
Yeah,
with the bulls,
The
bullfighting.
Kemites, Cometians, ancient Egyptians.
Phoenicians,
Apis. Remember his name was Apis.
yes,
It was
the
called
No,
Golden
Apis.
I'm
Dawn.
just talking.
Apis.
Apis.
Apis. Yes,
No, I'm just talking about the Spanish people today. Run- They all have bulls.
running of the bulls.
Wait, they have bullfighting,
Well,
running of the bulls, and hold on, let me look it up.
well. They I know where you're going with this, and they punish the bull because the bull is associated with the sun god Apis, which is Osiris. So the bull god is associated with the sun,
Also with the
and the
golden calf.
Spaniards.
The golden calf, the letter A of the alphabet, Aleph, is a bull upside down, basically. The letter A is like it's two horns upside down.
There you go.
Damn, Professor, you a bad, bad boy.
Because
I didn't. I know you knew about. It was called Hathor. Remember that was
they
one of the
have
ancient crowns of.
Hathor, well, that's the Hathor is a feminine. No, that's Isis. That's
now
Aset. So Hathor is the divine mother. Apis is Osiris. It's a masculine.
Oh, you.
So
Sorry.
Hathor is woman. Man.
You're right. You're
they
right.
have they have a cave in Spain that's 40,000 years old. And guess what's in that? Bulls.
Is it the
Bunch of
Lascaux?
Hello.
Is it
bunch
the
of bulls.
Lascaux
Huh?
grotto? Is it the Lascaux grotto? Well, that's in France. Never
It's
mind.
called Corrada de Torres. Oh no, that's the bull. They have a bull festival.
What's
They
the name of the
hold
cave?
on. They have a
Sorry.
bull festival. They
Cave of the bull.
sacrifice bulls. I saw this in person and I on a side street. They run with the bulls and they fight bulls. So they do four things with bulls today. Now. And they have that 40,000 BCE cave in their lands. Okay? That's some serious bull action. Plus, they got bulls all over the museum. So I said, what is with this bull worship? It's a bull cult. And the earliest group that I ever saw doing it was the Khoisan. But you know what they did? They weren't stabbing the bull. They would go into a trance and then kill the bull in an astral state. The bull was in an astral state, and the shaman was in an astral state. And once he killed the bull, it was called the rain bull, and then it would rain. I'm not 100% sure why everybody on Earth's culture features a bull, literally, over here in the Americas, over in, I mean, North America too. They have the bison. They do things with that. They worship it, they eat it, they follow it around. Um, I don't know what it is, but it's something.
From
It's associated with with God, the sun god. But what you said, Wani, I never heard that before. That's wild. So they would go to the astral plane and kill the bull.
Yes, he would deliver the death throw in the astral plane, and then
Wow.
the rain would fall. But the other groups kill the bull in reality, and they harm the bull. They are always harming the bull. They do it in Korea, they do it in China, they do it in West Africa, they do it in South Africa, like I just described, but only metaphysically.
Cambodia.
They
Cambodia.
do it all over the place, in all kinds of places where you would not believe they would do it. I just find that interesting.
That's interesting. I've actually seen an example of a yogi transcending to the astral plane. So that shit is real. This yogi turned from physical matter into light through a highly meditative state. It's so much shit they not telling us.
You got to go up to Tibet and find out. They do a lot of things. There's these guys called marathon monks, and they're in Japan. You can Google marathon monks, and they do things that actually you can't do. And they're doing it in your face. They do feats that human beings are not supposed to be able to do, like last without water, run marathons, and if they fail the test, they have to kill themselves. Go ahead, K-Bot.
Sorry not to interrupt. A quick question, Wani. Is it the same people who don't get penetrated by sharp objects and they can last in the cold without freezing to death? Is those the same monks? Just a quick question.
I don't know. They do a lot of things like that, but I didn't see that. It was mostly endurance related, but they have that same type of mentality in the region and in India. Of course, they stick things through. What's those other guys? Those whirling dervishes? Yeah, those guys. They'll do a lot of things to show that they're, you know, transcending pain and stuff like that. Okay, who was next?
I quickly I saw a chant in Africa. I'm not going to say the name of the chant, but I saw a group do a chant that made them impenetrable of knives. They did a chant like a sing song in a circle, and then tried to stab each other, and the blade didn't penetrate their
So you
skin.
know what I'm talking about then, Professor. That's crazy because I saw some. I'm gonna drop down.
That shit
That's
freaked me out.
crazy, yo.
that was in Ghana, huh?
No, it was unincorporated near Togo in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's pretty much Ghana if it was near Togo.
You're always saying
Yeah,
something is
yeah.
Ghana.
He loves Ghana. Ghana's beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
Where
just know,
where
like
do
I've
you
seen it
live?
before.
Where do
That's
you
why
live, Dan? Anywhere near Ghana?
I, I'm not gonna tell you.
Uh-huh. New Jersey, eh?
What part? Of Ghana? What
He
part of
up in Jersey.
what part of
He up
Ghana?
in Jersey.
I've never been to America. Um, I- I'm from Cape Coast. I'm from Kumasi. I'm from all over the place because I'm
Oh,
multi-ethnic.
oh, that's where the slave cattle is. So Dan, now I got a question for you. During the transatlantic slave trade, why in the fuck didn't your ancestors help break my dad's family out of Cape Coast
Oh
Castle?
boy.
Why didn't y'all raise up and bring us out?
Because they were domestic
You
slaves.
walked up right
I've
into it.
showed I've shown my um family tree
Man,
before.
it sucks to be you. Why did you
Really, you could have walked up and broke us out. Why
why
didn't you
didn't you
do it?
do it,
They were
Dan? What is the
domestic
that
slaves.
ain't right.
They were domestic slaves. I just said it.
Y'all ain't right. It was because we were pygmies, right? Thought you could take
Oh my
advantage.
God, bro.
Wait, I'm
Well,
confused. So the
looking at
gang,
my grandmother, I don't know. She was like she was kind of 4'11" and could climb a tree. So I don't know. Maybe
Mm,
she was a pygmy.
you got it.
She was
Dan,
wiry.
I'm confused. Dan Quay, you
Yeah.
from Togo or Ghana?
He
No,
thinks he's
I'm
related to
from Ghana.
pygmies.
Oh, and but you live in Britain.
Nah, nah.
Where's that accent? That's not a Ghanaian accent. You got a
He's sitting
distinct
up in New
English.
Jersey lying.
Yeah, you got a distinct English strong. But I
Well,
was just confused.
I sound British. I sound British
You're
to you.
not British.
You're not Ghanaian born, act like born
Canadian.
and raised straight from.
I
You was not
was,
born from a
I
baby
was
over there. 'Cause you got a very you talk.
He's
We can tell.
Canadian.
We can tell. You got a very distinct English twang in your speech. But I just
um. Let
Dan,
me just put it this
Dan,
way.
have you ever
I
been?
was born in France,
Dan, have you,
and then I grew up in Ghana.
Did you say
oh, there it
France?
is. There it is. I knew it.
there
It
it
wasn't
is.
straight from
There it
Africa. It was not all the way in Africa. Because you got that, Oh,
I got that. Je ne sais quoi. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You got
is. Gentlemen,
a more pronounced English twang in your speech. That's all I was noticing.
Dan, have you ever been to El Paso?
Apostle? No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're missing out. There's a waterfall in El Paso near Togo.
Yeah, they have very beautiful
Uh,
landscapes over there. I think they have the
yeah.
nicest landscapes in Ghana, actually, around that area.
Dude, I went to El Paso and saw a fucking ghost. I got a picture of
A
him.
ghost? Okay,
I'm fucking dead
I'm not
serious.
surprised. Yeah,
I've
the
seen a
double
ghost.
and double
Why?
and Vodun.
Why do you
So
guys have
that's
ghosts
where
over
Vodun
there?
is
What is
from.
going on?
That's where
You
Vodun is
need to
from.
clean that place up. It's all your fault.
There's ghosts on Sunset Boulevard.
It's probably my great auntie.
Over there to kick some butt.
Nah.
So can I go ahead and can I drop in for a second?
Sure. Do I have to buy
I'll keep it.
bitcoins or anything?
th- you can do whatever you like. The reason why I was talking about Bitcoin is because there's a group of people who don't want you to know about it. That's why I was being, manic about it, because some people believe that they can treat it like they have other structures in the society where it's supposed to be for the people. But I came up here to talk about AI
Can you
and
afford one
Web3.
Bitcoin? You know how much 1.1 Bitcoin? Not even a whole Bitcoin. You know how much
That's what I was
You
about to
can
say.
wait a
percentage of
minute.
one
You can buy
Bitcoin is?
$10.
Most black people in America can't afford a one
Hold on,
point
brother.
percent of a Bitcoin.
You can buy
You shouldn't
$10
preach
worth of
that. I
Bitcoin.
don't think you should preach that.
I'm not preaching. Why are you? Can I just go ahead and talk, and after I'm finished, you can rebut?
All right.
All right, go ahead. AI. What do you got about AI?
Okay. So the evolution of the internet is Web3, and the ethos of Web3 integrates AI. And Web3 is the decentralization of the internet, where you own your data, and these corporations don't control everything. It's more peer to peer. It's decentralized, and you can. There's more equity involved there. So the same thing can apply with AI and blockchain. So basically, you can tokenize your data. And you can tokenize anything that goes inside of AI, which is a duty that I believe many of us have that we just aren't aware of just yet. And that means training the AI of what we believe it should go to. So there's many different AIs, and if we start now with learning the capabilities of how we can add value to AI through blockchain technology, then we can help it become the AI that we need it to be, as opposed to it being the AI that can destroy. So that's what I came up here to say.
I,
There is a
you,
possibility.
you, you know what? 5,000 years ago, I bet you the Babylonians said the same shit. Hey, man, there's this tower that, if we talk to it the right way, it's going to give us great things. Go ahead, Wanda.
But we've been
I was
culturally
just going
conditioned
to
to.
say, what is the method? Because I listen to a lot of documentaries and I hear white boys crying about AI is going to get them and stuff. I'm not even studying them. But what is it they think is going to happen? Because people say some really crazy things and they're really not thinking this out. Like one of the crying things that I heard was Elon Musk is going to go move to Mars and we're all going to get left here. What? How? Is he going to live under a
The thing
dome?
about net
We already lived over there and it didn't work out. That's why our asses are over here. It's not like that place is got plants on it. Why would I go over to that dried up thing and live under a dome begging
with
for a cracker? Begging for somebody to bring me
with
something?
all
I mean, like, no, where's the damn 7-Eleven over
Hey,
here?
hold on to your shit so you can make potatoes.
No, there's no way to grow anything. I mean, they would have to go over there, terraform it. Living on Mars is a project. If they want to go over there and plant stuff and throw some animals on it and see how it works, that takes thousands of years more. So, no.
at this point,
Go ahead.
it's really easy to dismiss things and say, oh, we don't have to worry about it. But this is a different reality now where just throwing rocks at it and stones and not understanding it all the way is more
Are we
dangerous
talking about
than
Mars or AI?
I'm I was I came up here just to talk about AI,
Okay, so how
and
can
how
AI get me? I'm using it as a tool.
well it
Go ahead.
okay,
And before you
AI can
piss me off, before you piss me off, let me let you know I don't brag on it, but I have government training in computer science. That was my area. I was aerospace education officer for several years. So please know what you're talking
because
about. Go ahead.
blockchain blockchain technology is the combination of computer science and financial business and financial literacy, and that's it. So when it comes to your data, how you can fight AI is to input into AI your brand of reality of what you believe it should do. For example, if you go to Midjourney or ChatGPT or Dolly and you type in, I would like an African American woman with, golden hair down to her knees, they're gonna put on there what all these developers coded it to be. So when it comes to, like someone said, seasoning, like someone said, the way we react to the sun, how we use lotion, how we use different methods of healing in our culture. It definitely needs input from foundational Black Americans and Black people all over the world, as opposed to the developers who are in these corporations writing the code for it of what they interpreted, just like they interpreted that damn Good Times show, which could have been made by
Before
AI.
you get them,
So that's all.
Yeah, we do need more computer scientists. We need our young people being vectored into computer science. They're systematically being kept out of computer science. I don't want to get into that. I could talk about that for months. But what you're saying would have more validity if quantum computing wasn't about somebody saying it's acting up.
Right,
What is
but
that?
quantum computing is after blockchain. So let's deal with blockchain first and then go to the quantum computing, because quantum hasn't arrived yet. So it's almost like kicking the can down the road, saying I don't have to worry
You
about this
see,
because of
you
block.
don't know. Quantum is here. It's just we don't have access to it. And the whole crypto, um, the sophisticated code of crypto, I've seen examples at MIT during a conference that quantum computing is gonna it's gonna crack blockchain wide open.
But
So
it
quantum computing
hasn't.
it has a
It
potential
hasn't.
to.
Okay, but see what I'm saying is, and it's like a lot of this whole industry is like they want mass adoption. They want a million people before they want one person, and that's what I'm saying. Like if we start with one, you want to start with yourself first and figure out how you can add to it instead of saying somebody else is going to destroy me because I'm not paying attention to it. In the world of decentralization with blockchain, you are able to input your reality and value into these systems, uh, free of these multinational corporations. Thank you so much for letting me speak. That's all I wanted to say.
I'm gonna put a cap on that by saying yes, we do need our children need to be involved because that's gonna be the new slavery. Dr. John Henry Clark said it 35 years ago that slavery is gonna be digitized, it's gonna be on a computer, and I say that from experience. Yes,
Well,
our kids with computers, the
Professor, you digitized. You in the matrix.
Pastor.
You still in the mountains.
so
Yeah.
Wani was
yeah,
trying to Wani was trying to figure out how it was going to happen. So recently, I guess Neuralink came online by having a chip inserted into the first human's brain. Okay, and that chip right there is the beginning of, I guess, humans being controlled by things other than what humans do naturally. So you're going to have an outside source uh, basically taking over a human being, also giving it assignments. And one of the assignments in the future will be to build other robots, other things that will actually replace humans, skeletal robots or whatever. When you watch these things like the Terminator and Matrix and shit, you see what they are projecting to some degree. Uh, so
I'm sorry. Who's that speaking? Is that brother Bit? Uh,
yeah, yeah,
Benji.
yeah. Just hold on, bro.
Brother Ben?
So also Wani got into the bull and what it symbolized. Well, it symbolizes the African man. When you go back to ancient Egypt, you come across the Dendura calendar, which has the water buffalo in the middle, which is the beginning of life. It
What
symbolizes the
year is
African.
that? What year is this religion?
I don't have the date, but I do
You
know about the
gotta get the
Dendura
date.
calendar.
Okay.
Well, you can look it up. The Dendura calendar. It has the
Dendura.
water buffalo, and right outside of it is the Apis bull, which is the male. Okay. And so you wonder why do all of these people kill it? Well, that's because the Africans and the Europeans and a lot of these other people were having these back and forth wars and battles. It's almost like a war on their civilization in Africa, northern Africa. It's done through a symbology, but also like the slaying of the bull in Spain. You know,
But
that's
but ain't bull
symbolically.
testicles a delicacy in France? Bull testicles ain't it a high delicacy food? Bull testicles. I don't know if y'all knew that. Look that up.
Mm,
That's not true.
what about hog moth?
So again, you
I
wonder
heard
why
the
you kept
I heard
seeing
the
these
French eat.
bulls. You wonder why you keep seeing these bulls
I
get.
heard the French eat horse meat.
I can't hear. Say that
Oh,
again.
you couldn't hear me?
You were
I
breaking
said
up.
the French eat. I'm still breaking up. Wow.
Yeah.
I heard the French eat horse meat.
Horse meat? Yeah. You know, it's strange. The French eat a lot of things that we wouldn't want to eat. I was like grossed out
Snail,
in the
snail,
supermarket.
snail is pretty nice actually.
Yeah, you would eat snails. That seems right.
I
You know
mean, it's
what?
good. Escargot
No,
is
it's
pretty good.
not. I don't want to hear
With
about it.
a little bit of
I
garlic and
I
shit.
don't want to know the details of it.
It's more.
It's nasty.
Those are
And it's
supposed
great.
to be removed from vegetable patches, not eaten.
Oops.
You guys don't know how
It
to
was on
do
the
stuff.
menu.
And frog legs
It
as
was on the
well.
menu.
Frog legs. I knew you would bring those up too.
I mean, y'all don't know what you're
Nasty.
missing. It
I
tastes like
do.
chicken and
I
fish at the same
do.
time.
Then they can just have chicken. If everything tastes like chicken, just have some chicken. At least that's, it doesn't have crazy parasites from reptiles and You don't want these things in yourselves. Trust me.
Chicken,
I'm not
chicken.
just being a food snob. You
I've
don't
seen
want to play
chicken literally
around with.
eat shit. Like I'm.
You don't even know what these things eat. What do slugs do? Have you ever checked them out?
They eat leaves.
You know what? I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Dude, they eat poop.
Snails. Snails eat
They're on the
leaves.
sidewalk.
No, We don't
Yes.
eat those snails.
Oh, you're uppity, huh?
Hey, why am I even defending the French? Hey, yeah, whatever you say. I'm not French anyway.
Sure you
It's
are. He
Freudian.
thinks
You
he's
learn
French.
French.
Oh, you know he's French, right? In his mind.
I'm not French.
Hmm.
I have
French
the
are
French
Franks.
citizenship.
French people are Franks, and Franks are Germanics.
Wani,
You sure
let
take
me
up
tell
for
you
that culture
this.
a lot.
You
Let
are
me tell you
not.
this. There was black French people before Napoleon's people.
I
Oh
know
God.
all that, but it
Oh
wasn't
man.
you.
Get him,
Here
Wani.
we go.
Nah,
It
Damn, I
wasn't
want to hear
you
you,
though.
Professor, but you breaking up. Man, I know you got some heat.
no, Martinique,
It wasn't
Martinique.
you though. It
No,
wasn't
listen,
you. There were Moors over there, but it wasn't you.
I'm not even talking
You're
about the
not the good
Moors.
kind.
The
We
good
already
kind. I'm
discussed
fucking
the
dead.
good ones. You are not one of them. If you were a pygmy,
Look, Martinique was French, was part of France before
uh,
Corsica was.
I
That
don't
means that there was
care.
black people before Napoleon's people was even part of France.
Hmm.
So no,
France is.
France is not Franks.
It
That's not true.
is. That's why it's called France and not Nigeria.
I refuse to agree with you, but you're right.
But you have to do that to feel a part of it, right?
I don't want to be a part of
We
France.
could go back. We can go
I'm
all
a
the way
con.
back, and we can say, "Hey, Cheddar Man, he was dark skinned. They didn't even have white skin then, and therefore, the UK is black. So all the white people need to get out." We could do that,
I mean, one,
but that's not how it's gonna work.
you've seen my handle, you've seen my tweets. I only care about
I don't pay attention
me
to you.
being.
I don't. No, I have not seen your tweets.
Oh,
Literally,
okay, my bad, my bad.
you have lost your mind.
Do
I
you
only
know you talking
claim
to the
being a
queen? That is
con.
the
I'm not
queen,
looking at
bro.
his
You gotta
tweets.
respect who you talking to. That's Wani, y'all. You know you
I'm
talking to.
looking at his
He
That
not
tweets.
that
really.
does nah. That's not the
Man,
queen.
Professor got to come
That's
back, man.
my
I know he got some heat right now. Get out the mouth, Professor.
Now I wanted to ask. I don't know if I want to ask this. Brother Benji, continue with what you were discussing about these bulls because
I ask.
what I have uh, found is that even more people worship bulls. And I said, I'm going to find out why they're doing it and who started it. So I did see, I don't know if you heard me say the Khoisan do a bull ritual where they kill the bull in an astral state. They don't physically kill it, or I haven't seen that they do it. And on top of that, they stopped doing it. They don't do it anymore. They used to do it. You have to go back to the late 1800s. So, any ideas?
Well, like I said, I wasn't familiar with the Khoisan and them metaphysically killing a bull, but I mean, it would make sense uh, because what I would think is probably the Europeans or Asians probably took the information from them, interpreted into something literal, but also it plays into supremacy type of teachings which come about later. And so you asked, how old was the Dendura calendar with the Apis bull on it? It's going back to about 200 BC, I believe. So uh,
Okay.
I think that's the Memphite uh, period of time in ancient Egypt. So uh, when you look at this calendar, the Dendura calendar, uh, it's very interesting because, like I say, it gives you the water buffalo, which is symbolic of the African female at the very center, which is where all life is projected from. And then outside of her is the male who comes about later, which is the Apis bull. And so when, like I say, you get up into Europe, you see that the Spaniards and the Italians are killing bulls. And that bull represents the black African or the African man. Okay. And we have to understand that these people went back and forth for a very long time in that region throughout a series of wars and conquering each other. So I believe that it was spread probably as the whites gained more power over time. Other cultures adopted it and took it in, especially in Asia and some of those other countries y'all mentioned.
Now we know that India won't kill the bull because but they
Sacred.
do it. They do it behind the scenes. There is a Hindu custom where they sacrifice a bull, but on the surface they say they don't do that because it's sacred.
Yeah, well, and I heard y'all mention the Bhagavad Gita earlier, so I think that's the book y'all was referring to. I don't know if y'all ever got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna just land it right there because I'm pretty
Thank
sure the
you.
professor will come across it. Endura or probably already has uh, in his studies. But I find the story of the water buffalo becoming Tauret a lot more interesting than actually the bull. You know, uh,
Not to cut anybody else off, brother Benjamin, you dropped some science. So that calendar you talking about, was that under the Greek rule when Kemet, well, it was Egypt then? Was when the Greeks was ruling it, or was it a Roman rule?
well, I believe that period of time is when you start to see the incursions of the outsiders. Yeah, so this is a big ass giant calendar though, and like I said, if you call it up, it's a DEN DURAH. You will see it, and it has all kind of animals on it, which represents different periods of times, different parts of creation. Uh, you might even be able to say this is where you get the idea or some of the ideas of the different signs that we have, uh, Libras, uh, Sagittarius, and all of this other stuff. So that kind of
Wow.
plays into the
Thank you for
calendar
that.
as well.
Thank you for that, bro. I need to research that one because I do look up calendars throughout history. Spell that one more time for me.
DEN
DEN
DURAH.
DURAH.
Endure calendar.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, can y'all hear me? I think I'm out the mountains now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sound better now.
Uh, well, I mean, I got a couple mountains around. Yeah.
I know you had some hot fire to drop on. I was like, damn, Professor.
I'm just listening. It was interesting, and the dates. My main pushback is sometimes the dates are not. They're not really sure about those dates. Like the dates keep getting rolled back, and they used to say the pyramids were 5,000 years old. Now I'm hearing that they don't even know how old they are. So
10,000 or
dates
Sometimes
become
12.
we're up to about 30,000 years, so it's getting
They
old.
Because they
said
got
10
water
or
erosion
12, and
from,
now they don't know.
yeah,
It
it's
went
so
from 10 to
old.
right.
12 to now they can't tell.
And Professor, a quick question. It's because the way they counted the days when they turned into the Roman calendar, because August, they added months. The older time, the Egyptian, that the ancient, I don't like to say Egyptian, but I say Kemites, but just for the sake of the room, ancient Egyptians, they had a perfect calendar down until I think it was half a day, was it? They were the ones who
No,
even.
it's 20. It's equal months, 13 months. That's a whole other space, man. It's 13 13 months. Come on, what's that about?
But yeah, that's why.
Yes, somebody somebody's phone was acting up. Uh yeah. But it was 13 months of 28 days apiece. Um and one day it was one day that was shorter or something, and that was supposed to be Easter or like whatever the days cycle was. It's on the back of a turtle's back, like the days were perfectly aligned. And it's really fucked up, man, because the I'm gonna be careful with this, but the Gregorius was following orders, from what I was told, by the Catholic Church to rearrange dates to confuse us. What I'm saying, like I said earlier, is mankind had a system of months that were completely aligned celestial, with the stars. Like, so why would Gregorius, excuse me, go around to disrupt that perfect alignment? Was he trying to keep mankind out of alignment with a higher power? It's in your face. I tell my students all the time, the best place to hide something is in your face. And I'm about to blow y'all mind right quick. What did I say? The beginning of the new year is in the spring, and they fucking move it to January, right? That's wrong, and it's in your face. Let's look at it. Let's do a little math right quick. October. What number represents October? Anybody?
10.
Eight.
It's wrong. It's
It's eight.
wrong.
It's eight. It's the
Exactly.
eighth month
Exactly.
because
Yes.
Caesar, what's his name? Caesar added his month. The Romans added those 2 months. You know what I'm talking about, Professor?
No, bro, you're right. But I was looking at it a different way that you didn't catch. But October, oct. What does oct mean? What is that? That's 8.
8.
An octagon. How many sides is on an octagon?
8.
Se- September is a 9, right? But what does sept really mean? Look, what does sept mean? Uh,
Well,
like,
it's
look at
actually
the
named after individuals as well.
October,
Octavius.
oct 8. Jan, how many? What is Jan? Look that up on the Google. What number is represented by Jan? So the names are perfectly aligned to the number they're supposed to be. October is supposed to be 8. This is supposed to be in August.
Yeah.
We're early. Gregorian took us out of alignment. We're out of alignment with the stars. So we're in some janky ass system that's clumsy as fuck, where we're attributing different times. Like the new year is supposed to be a celebration in the spring. It's not supposed to be in the winter. This shit's been fucked up by Gregorian. And my whole point of bringing this up is what interest would the Catholic Church have into
Well,
disrupting the true cycle of monks?
one of the issues is that people were celebrating things on certain dates, right? And then when they tried to put the Christianity on everybody, they just made up things and said, okay, this is Jesus's birthday, this is this birth. They were just trying to, that's one of the issues. They just knew that they did this everywhere because over in Bolivia, the indigenous people were worshiping on a certain hill and they were doing certain things and they knew they were never going to stop doing it. So they plunked a big Catholic church right up where they were putting all of their sacrifices and all of their things. They didn't care. They just want you to celebrate on that day. This is one of the hidden things about religion. They want you to give attention to it. When you acknowledge something, that's a lot of power, even though it doesn't seem like it. Like when you say, today's my birthday, you feel special on the day. And when you get other people to say, today's my birthday, everyone is giving you some energy and some attention. So that's all they want is for you to direct your attention. So if you said, this is spring equinox, right? And we're going to celebrate this, we're going to do this and that. You can't stop us. And they're never going to stop. So they just said, no, today's Easter. We're just going to change it to Easter. So they know you're still going to do spring equinox things. And it's going to involve, then you can just say, we tricked them into doing Easter. We tricked them into celebrating Christmas. We tricked them into celebrating whatever it is. Because these are just days like, harvest days for autumn equinox. That's been celebrated for millennia. That that's just
So,
something they celebrate. And they're just gonna attribute that to something new that they want you to follow.
so you're saying that they on some level they're stealing spiritual energy from us just by having us pay
Yes.
attention and stuff?
Yes, they want us to
Wow.
pay attention. The whole thing is to get you to pay attention. Commercials, They want you to look. That's why I block all commercials on all things, on all videos, all phones, all everything. They want your attention. Everyone is vying for your attention. I remember when I was younger, we only had a few celebrities. Now there's celebrities I've never heard of. People mention people, oh yeah, you know that person. No, no one knows who they are. They're in the comments going, who's that? Everybody has exploded because of the internet, and now everyone wants your attention. So um, it's very complicated now. But yeah, they just simply want to take that energy that we've been giving, not we, but various groups in history have had specific holidays and specific activities on specific days. And, the Christians just said, now this is this day, now this is that day, knowing that they were going to celebrate anyway.
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective because the way I was thinking of it is that they're just trying to keep us. They want our attention to keep us away from self discovery, which is what the room is about. The miseducation to keep us away from going internal, because true knowledge is within us, and they want to keeps us distracted so we don't sit down and be peaceful long enough to figure out, holy shit, I'm a god. They don't want us to figure that one out. But I think it could be both and. I do think
Yes,
it's some power and
it's both
attention.
out, both of them. They definitely don't want you to go in. The minute that you start talking about meditation, oh, woo, woo, you're into that. Yeah, you're into Eastern. No, every group meditates. They go on walkabouts. There's three different types of way to say meditating for Abrahamic religions. All of these spiritual systems meditate or go into an altered state, a trance, shamanic people go into trances. Australian people go on walkabouts. People ponder. Everybody does it, and that's what you should do.
What's a walkabout? How does that work?
You just walk about. No, you simply go on a walk, and you I don't know because I'm not a Australian. It's private, but it's a time to go on a spiritual journey. You physically walk.
Wow,
Quick question
interesting. I
for
love it.
quick question for you, Professor, and you, Wani. Either one of y'all can answer, and I'm done after this. It's tying into what you was just saying, one. So, do you think that the reason, back into the topic of the room, is FBA miseducation, the name of the game? Do you think that they are consciously, on purpose, basically, um, because some of them, like, what's that called when you lose some of yours, when you taking out the enemy? What's that called? Um,
Shooting yourself in
Collateral,
the foot.
collateral, collateral. Yeah, collateral. Because are they chalking up the collateral damage that's going to come with them implementing and keeping this misinformation campaign and everything that comes along with it? Because it's all about subjugation, right? So, do you think that they know the end game, or they calculating the end game?
No, you mean the average white person?
No, no. I mean, the billion trillion, the people that make money say what money is. Them people like that, and they all white. See, black people be thinking that, oh, dude got $1 billion, he rich, or he got a couple hundred. The people that make money say what money is, and they all white. They control everything. Them, the people in charge of our economy and every other economy in the world, they have a problem with the true essence of people who fight against them. And we are Black Americans, FBAs. We are diametrically opposed. But that doesn't go to say every other melanated person across the world, because they are the minority. They're the majority in America, which I have to inform some of my African and Caribbean friends sometimes. Like, yo, y'all think this is a black country? Y'all think black people, this is a white country still. White people, this is super white. You ain't, if you drive through this country, you're gonna see it mostly white. You got to see black people in the cities and the suburban areas around. But anyway, I just say that. Do you think they're on purposely trying to engineer and keep it the way they like, to where they're comfortable, because they need us, but they don't need the opposition. If you know what I'm saying, like what a slave what John Henry Clark say, he said, a slave trader or a slave master can't be a master without a slave, something like that. So they don't want to completely eradicate, but they want to subjugate. Damn, I wish I could answer this question better.
Yeah, but
Well,
you're
that
making
makes
sense.
sense. That makes sense. I just don't know what you mean. Do they want to keep us? You mean keep us praying to things and worshiping pagan deities while they're saying it's Christianity?
Right, because they're not going to get like the World Wide Web, the internet. We're able to connect with every, so, at the drop of a hat across the world. So the information is spreading. A lot of people are waking up, and they can't.
The vaccination to this is just knowing about it. If you
Right.
don't know and you just sit there watching reality TV and thinking that that's, good for your brain and looking at commercials that make you hungry and make you want to go to Wendy's, if you don't know about it, that's the harm. If you do know about it, that's a vaccination against it. So if you
Okay.
know that these holidays are pagan holidays and that it is just this particular group of people trying to get you to look at their stuff, if you're aware of that and you know all the days of the week are named by pagans and all the artwork in the Vatican is pagan art, and that the Pope was worshiping the Pachamama, he literally brought a, a pagan goddess into the Vatican and prayed to it, and then 100 priest made him apologize and he refused to apologize. They took the Pachamama and threw it in the water. He got it out of the water, never apologized.
Wow.
He was worshiping a demon right in everybody's face, in front of everybody. So I don't know what the game plan is,
That's why
to be honest.
I thank you for that. It's Tam. I got to look that up. That was amazing.
Look
Uh,
up Pope and the Pachamama. They're
wow.
still trying to figure out what he was doing.
Is that tied into the Black Madonna that they were sneaking and worshiping
They do that
more?
too.
You know what I'm talking about?
All of these people have a black Madonna over in Russia and in museums. And if you ask them about it, they may tell you that, oh, it's candle soot, but of course it doesn't cover the clothes. So they worship it. I don't again, they want to get your energy on something and they want to put their energy on something else.
Right, because I don't know if they like the game plan is to completely eradicate us, but to get us into a certain. I was too complex, but thank you for that. Thank you for that. You just opened my eyes.
No, you're asking a good question that has been asked before, and we don't know what the end game is. So there's some speculation that they want us eradicated, but Bobby Hemmett said that the name of the game is if we die, they can't exist without us, like Wani was saying earlier, parasitic.
Thank you,
So we don't
thank
know.
you, Professor. You put the words better than I could. Thank you.
They just want to contain you. They want to keep you in check, but they need you here because that's the only way they can really study everybody else is through us.
Like I said, if we had reparations and people started saying, "Oh, bump this. I'm not living in this immigrant filled dump," and left, that would be the end of the United States of America. It would not be together anymore. They wouldn't be able to subjugate us. They would just have these non-producing, non-creative people up under them, messing their little areas up. Yeah, it would be a zoo. So they don't want us to leave. That is a fear that they have, that we could would collectively get the hell up out of here. But usually, what I hear us saying is that we would buy land together in a certain place and build cities together. So I don't think we would leave.
Yeah, I tell my students all the time, like when we're discussing hierarchies of the European hierarchies. Oh, excuse me. Monarchical structures is the European operates off of a monarchical structure of king, queen, noble, knight. You know what I'm saying? Then serfs and peasants. So what I show my students all the time is if you have a system where there are no peasants, you can't have a king. In America, money makes you a king, allegedly. But let's just roll with it. So if you have a $1 billion in the bank and you're at home balling your ass off, and you say, you know what, honey, let's go to Wendy's and get a burger. I want a Wendy's burger. In America, you need an exploitive class. You need people working at Wendy's to fix your burger. It's just the way it is. So you need an exploitive class. But I think there's something different with foundational Black Americans. There's so much attention put on us, and I'm torn, brother. I don't know. It looks like to some extent, like they're trying to eradicate us. I was in a room earlier where somebody had Kamala Harris talking about, I don't know if y'all heard this shit, but Kamala said she's going to pass a bill to make sure that, to eliminate degree requirements on federal jobs. And she played it off like, I'm just going to make it more inclusive for everybody. But I heard what she was really saying. What she was saying is, I'm going to eliminate the degree requirements on federal jobs to allow immigrants to get federal jobs. And that really scared me because as a graduate of a historically Black college, I know that the majority of graduates of historically Black colleges get that degree to work for who? Uncle Sam. Whether it's Social Security, work for Department of Justice, we dominate federal jobs. Military, you have to have a degree to become an officer. Um, like, and Kamala Harris said, I'm paraphrasing her, but she's like, I'm gonna eliminate that requirement. I brought that up to say that we're being eradicated in America on every level. We can't afford houses. So they're saying, okay, Black man and woman, you can't have a family, you can't have a house. Now you can't have a federal job. In my view, that's just saying, hey, like Amos Wilson said, that's saying, hey, go away, go die, go away. You just go die.
And they
So
know
maybe
these
they do. I don't know.
and they know these Hindu caste people are going to get on there and discriminate and be anti-black and block everybody out of it, including white people. But they don't want to riot.
Dominate the fuck out of it.
Yep, they don't want to riot unless the Canucks lose. So I don't know what's wrong with them mothers.
And like it was brought up in the other space, eliminating a degree requirement for a federal job is not going to help hurt white people. That's not going to hurt them because they don't go to college like we do. We go to college because we don't have that many options. It's like, well, shit, I'm either joining the military or going to college. You know what I'm saying?
So are you gonna
Thank
start
you
to
both.
have
Thank you
tours to
both.
Africa with these people on the spaces, Professor?
What'd you say, bro?
Are you gonna start taking tours of people over to Africa with you like some of these other professors do?
And I'm not sure if the next time I'm going back to Africa. No, I wouldn't dare do that. Which is look at what?
Hmm.
To look at what?
Well, you always in Egypt, so I figured maybe you would maybe take them to Abu Simbel,
Bro, I'm gonna start taking tours of Black FBAs to fucking Illinois.
Oh, okay. You're going to
To
see the
fucking
mounds.
Woo! That's
it, it's real, that's where the real history
ooh
is.
wait, that's
Okay.
beautiful.
Illinois, Missouri, yeah.
Abu Simbel is in Egypt too.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's in Sudan. Abu, you talking about the mountain? Abu Simbel, that's in Sudan.
Well, the city
They
that
had it
they
locked off
It's a,
for a while. They were over there changing the images of different things that were clearly
maybe it's
black.
Abu Barca. I'm not sure.
So I'm not.
But ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed y'all. I don't know why my phone. I'm not complaining, but shit, I thought it was gonna crash when I was in the mountains. I'm outside the mountains. It actually lasted the whole way. Interesting. Uh, Anybody else want to come up and contribute? I learned a lot.
I'm gonna just say, man, the knowledge that I learned from just joining your spaces and talking with Wani and listening and learning a lot, man. You got. My nephews are actually listening. I sit them down, and some of it a little more complex over their head because 14 and 30. But just to let them know, listen, the images that y'all see and that y'all think that black people that they want to feed y'all, that what that's all we are. Listen, we are more than a culture. We are the culture. When you ever hear people trying to say, "Oh, black people, y'all was just slaves, y'all didn't do nothing," and you shouldn't be. They try to diminish your psyche and your basically you shouldn't be proud of you. You shouldn't hold your head high because y'all was just slaves, and now y'all listen. Listen to what's happening in these spaces. And my nephew, he just said, man, the other day when we were talking about the name change. He said, "Man, I just went and did some research. See, this is what I like because when you get the young people involved, they ain't got nothing to do. They staring at their phones all day and they on a damn screen. So put that screen to use." And he went and he did his own little baby research, and it wasn't too much to be haranguing about, but it was enough. It put him in the right direction. So I just want to say, man, keep these spaces up. Professor, you one of the greatest scholars that I've heard in a long time. Your knowledge is vast and amazing. Wani, you the queen. I could listen to you break down everything all day. Everybody else in the space. I don't know if Nikki's in here. Just love, man. Love to everybody. And I'm foundational Black American first. My people, we fought, bled, died, built this country and this soil. So I'm all about us, but I don't hate. I don't hate. It's not an attack against any other people that's not FBA. So any non FBA people, it's all love. If you come with us with respect and no shade and no trying to put us down and going against what we got going on, it's all love. It's never hate off top. Like Tariq said, a tether is an action. It's not you just not a tether because you from Jamaica or you from, you know. Nah, you gotta do something to earn that title. Just like we got coons here. You know what I'm saying? We got coons, we got American born coons. We got Jesse Lee Petersons and all type of coons. But you gotta that's an action thing. So it's just all love, man. Keep these spaces going. I'm teaching my family and my people, and they're listening to something that's great. And I write a lot of stuff down, I do a lot of research. Professor, you drop so many gems all the time. You got a crazy vast array of knowledge, and I love you. I love Wani. I love you to death. I can listen to you all day, and everybody else in the room, everybody who contribute. And with that being said, I know I was a little long-winded. I'm about to take my ass to bed. Thank you for y'all, and I'm looking forward to the next space. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.
So
Oh,
Oh yeah. Okay.
that's it.
Go ahead, Wani.
thank you, Nate. I just wanted to say, having a slave background is something that I feel proud about. Okay, because it's Phoenix rising from the ashes. It's something that's part of what makes us who we are. It's one of the differences that we are from other groups. We fought back against this. We fought out of this in every way, on every level. People that were free blacks, they call them, free people of color, though they fought hard on the outside with newspapers and everything else, writing about it. Abolitionists, people that were wanted, were running back and forth, freeing people inside the plantation system. We all fought in different ways. They fought their way out, they killed to get out, they invented things to get out. So I'm not ashamed of that aspect of my background. So they shouldn't be either. I don't want your nephews to feel ashamed at all because it's something that they rose out of and something that's very, very strong in their genetics for them to be able to do that. For us to be able to survive, just to survive, when 90% of Siberian people over here from Siberian origins, 90% of them died off the top. They couldn't take it. When you read the letters from those missionaries, they were a complete disaster area. They were too weak, they were broken down, and they killed them with diseases. And they had to come get something stronger that could take it. That was us. Then we became even more stronger.
Yeah, history says the smell was so bad of them
Yeah.
dying from disease that the Europeans had to stay at port like for
Oh
months.
no. I have a new quote from
Uh,
that, and it really does show that as soon as they hit the shore, disease broke out. They just started getting sick, and the people were dying in a few days. They were sickened and dying. 90%. 90%.
no immunity, and we didn't have immunity either, but we
But they're
survived that
super,
shit.
these people are super spreaders, though. I still go back to my original statements earlier. They're super spreaders because they spread AIDS over here, like I said earlier. They went over to the Congo as colonists and took it back over to Germany, and little German babies started getting HIV, but they didn't know what it was called. It was a certain kind of pneumonia. And we now know that pneumonia that they were giving out, which was identified in 1912,
Hello.
1912, spread around by German colonists. They're still spreading diseases. They're super spreaders. So the people in the Congo, so they probably had some, um, monkey borne disease from eating monkeys. But who's spreading it is the question. Why are they always spreading it?
You think it may not be a whole bunch of intentionality? It's just what they do.
I think it's their no, I don't think they did it on purpose at all.
Wow.
Not with HIV. They literally were over there colonizing, and they came back to Germany, and then all their children started getting sick. And then it morphed and morphed until it became HIV. It exploded in the 80s.
That's wild.
Yeah, but that's still a fallout from slavery.
Select came to the stage. Talk to us, Select.
Reparation, repatriation, reparation, repatriation, reparation,
Repatriation to where?
where the Caucasian believes they took
Hold on, hold
those
on, hold
who
on.
jump on that
Repatriation
from.
to who? Wait, repatriation what? Go look up,
Reparation along with
go back,
repatriation.
go look up repatriation. What does that word mean? You don't even know
Reparation with repatriation.
to where. We're from here, douchebag. It's not too late for me to roast you. It's only 10 o'clock here.
The
You
obvious.
think everybody's sleepy. I'm wide awake.
Mother Africa,
I'll
they would
drink
say,
some
right,
coffee.
you
You
go
want
on,
me to?
that's
You
where
say
you want to.
you say Mother Africa one more time, and I'm gonna remove
Mother
you.
Africa needs CPS called on her
Right?
ass.
That's how the
You threw
Caucasian,
your children into the
that's
shark
how the
fest.
Caucasian gonna put it together. They're gonna say, okay, we
Caucasian?
can
What is a
please all of you.
Caucasian? What is a
Where you gonna get the
Caucasian?
money from? Where you gonna
Your
get your
mama. I'm
repatriation
gonna
money
get it out
from?
of your mama's ass.
Who are you gonna look to get it from?
Tell your mother to bend over.
Who are you
Well,
gonna
check
look
this
to get
out.
it? Don't get
What does it have
personal,
to
get
do with you?
objective. Now
What's
she's
it
lost
to
the
you?
argument. She'll get personal.
Why is your African
Per,
ass in this
Hey, what's it to
conversation?
you, man? What's my reparation money to you, man? Why you care?
not interested in the money. It's the principle.
Why
The
are
whole
you
thing is
talking about it?
He all up in our space talking about he's interested in the principle. Check this out. Check this principality out. Have a nice
look.
day. Get off my stage.